Wool was a chubby guy who loved anime and games. He had a hard time standing up for himself, so he usually just went along with whatever people asked. Because of that, the other kids at school picked on him a lot. He was fed up with everything going on, so he started putting more effort into his schoolwork, hoping it might give him a shot at a better life down the road. Ever since he was a kid, he hoped that when he grew up, people would actually notice what he could do, not just how he looked. It didn't take him long to realize that, on top of being a chubby otaku, his grades were pretty bad too. After he finished school, the only work he could find was taking hits at a gym, pretty much letting others use him for practice. The ad was searching for guys who weighed more than 90 kilograms and didn't care about having a diploma. In the end, he realized not much had changed. The cycle kept going, only now the people throwing punches at him were actual pros. The young guy sits there, tears streaming down his face. He can't figure out why people always seem to treat him like garbage. It's like no matter what he does, things just never go his way. He was zoning out, lost in his own thoughts, when a big, strong hand landed on his shoulder out of nowhere. His supervisor, May, reached out and asked if he could help out with the gym's monthly report. Wu wants to explain that he's only here to help out with training, but deep down, he can already tell there's no way he's getting out of this. When the supervisor notices him pausing, he gets irritated. The guy tenses up, showing off his muscles, and stares him down, making it clear he's not messing around and wants to know exactly what was just said. The chubby guy gets nervous and quickly says yes to working on the report. His boss doesn't waste any time and tells him to get moving. Wu thought things were finally starting to calm down, but then the supervisor called him. He turned around, tired and hoping this wouldn't drag on any longer. Just then, a bunch of the other strong guys from the gym walked over. They all wanted him to handle their reports as well. The main guy's eyes turned cold, and for a second it looked like he was about to lose it and just tell everyone off. He just lets out a tired smile and goes along with doing everyone's work, showing that he never really turns anyone down. It's midnight and the street is super dark. The only thing lighting it up is one street light standing there by itself. While he sat at his computer, tears started to fall, and he couldn't help but think about why he didn't just say no. He realized he wasn't even getting paid extra for this, which made him feel even worse. Out of nowhere, the guy's chest tightens up, and it hurts so bad it's like his heart is about to burst. He thinks back to what the doctor told him. Not losing weight could mean his body giving out one day, just like that, no warning. The chubby guy could tell something was seriously wrong. He reached for his phone, hands shaking, hoping he could call an ambulance before things got any worse. Things just kept getting worse for him. Out of nowhere, a message showed up on his screen, letting him know his service got cut because he hadn't paid. He lies there in the dark, completely drained. It finally hits him that this is the end. He's not getting out of this one. The room is quiet and there's no one around. He's on his own and he knows it. At the very last moment, he realizes he can't keep living the same way. He makes up his mind to change, not wanting to be remembered as just another otaku. He moves the mouse over to his secret study folder and deletes it from his computer. He leans back, a small smile on his face, finally able to relax. His head drops onto the desk, and for the first time in a while, he feels like he can let go. Right before everything goes dark, he just hopes that if he ever gets another shot at life, he won't end up as an otaku again. The mouse slips and lands on the send to all button instead of delete. Suddenly, a new message pops up on the screen for everyone to see. Somewhere else, supervisor noticed how fast he finished the report and couldn't help but be a little surprised. He gets the folder and can't help but wonder what the kids sent him. He opens it up, wanting to see what's inside. Out of nowhere, a sketchy video pops up right in the middle of the meeting. Everyone's eyes dart to the screen, and things get tense fast. People freeze up and start freaking out, not sure what to do next. His eyes go wide as he realizes the huge mistake he just made. Somehow, he looks down and sees himself as a baby. He starts to wonder if he's actually starting his whole life over again. 20,000 years later, things shift over to the continent of Kyushu, landing in a spot called. A stunning fox girl wrapped her arms around from behind, looking at him with a warm smile like he was her own brother. Showed up looking a bit confused. She noticed he was still hanging around the mountain, even though they'd both said they'd go out and see what the world had to offer. It seemed like she was wondering why he hadn't left yet. After training non-stop for what felt like forever 2,000 years, to be exact, this guy just grabs the whole mountain and lifts it with one arm like it's nothing. Wu let everyone know who he was, saying he was just a regular guy, nothing special, except maybe a bit stronger than most. He admitted that he'd probably end up causing some problems. The girl's eyes go wide and she lets out a scream. She can't believe what she's seeing. Some regular guy just picked up a whole mountain like it was nothing. It doesn't make any sense to her, and for a second, she's frozen, trying to figure out if this is even real. He realizes it's true. He really did come back to life, and has been training on that same mountain for 20,000 years. He tells his story story, saying he was born as the young master of a demonic sect. But things went downhill fast when the whole place went broke. He stayed up in the mountains, eating whatever he could find just to keep from getting caught. When he finally made it back down, he told the girl that his training days were done. The young man appreciated having the little fox around. Hanging out with her kept him from losing his mind from how boring things would been on his own. Thanks to everything he went through before, he stuck to a strict routine. He trained hard every day, never missing a session, and kept at it for 20,000 years straight. But after all that training, he finally understood something big about himself. Out of nowhere, a massive snake slithered into view, blocking their path. Its red eyes locked onto them, and anyone could tell it was looking for its next meal. He found out he was which basically meant he didn't have what it took to start cultivating like everyone else. The snake suddenly strikes, aiming right at them. Deep down, he knows all he's got going for him is his body, years of training, and nothing much else. He doesn't back down at all and gets ready to take on the creature, relying only on his fists. He steps up and throws a punch right at the monster, landing it dead center. The hit is strong enough to launch the creature backwards, sending it crashing away with real power. The hit sends the snake crashing straight through a rock wall, breaking it apart as its body slams right through. Wu looks at what he's just done and can't believe it. He honestly didn't know he was that strong. He smiled at her and brought up the idea of having snake meat for dinner that night. The girl nods, clearly excited, and both of them start getting things set up, ready to dig into the surprise meal together. Wasn't surprised at all. She watched her brother Lincoln take out a flood dragon with just one punch, exactly like she thought he would. While he gets the meat ready, someone yells at him, calling him out for stealing. The young guy freezes, caught off guard by the sudden accusation. A guy showed up, standing on top of a sword like it was no big deal. He pointed at the two of them, pretty annoyed, and claimed they took the dragon he was about to beat. Steps up and tells them his name. He's not happy and starts blaming them, saying they must be from the demonic sect because of what they did. The main guy just stares at him, looking totally uninterested. He doesn't seem bothered by what's being said, like he's heard it all before and can't be bothered to react. The young guy gets nervous and quickly tries to cover things up, scrambling to act like nothing's wrong. In his head, he's stressing out, trying to figure out how the other guy even found out about them in the first place. Right after that, he drops to the ground and starts apologizing, trying to make it clear he didn't mean to take the creature. The instructor shot them a cold look, clearly annoyed. Right away, he pointed out that one was a fox demon, and the other was just a regular human without any special abilities. The man sees there's no point in saying anything else, so he turns away, done wasting his time on these people. He doesn't waste a second. Gripping his sword, he rushes at them and pulls off a strong move, taking both of them down in one go. The instructor didn't expect what happened next. The sword came flying, but the guy just reached out and caught it with his bare hand like it was nothing. The man drops to the ground, his eyes wide as he stares at the young guy. He just sits there, frozen, pointing at him, like he can't wrap his head around what he just saw. His eyes went wide as he watched this regular kid somehow grab his flying sword out of the air. He just couldn't figure out how a normal guy pulled that off. Felt kind of bad for grabbing the guy's weapon, but he figured he had to do it. The other guy looked like he was about to take him down, so didn't really see another way out. The instructor couldn't believe how bold he was. Annoyed, she called out a swarm of flying swords, sending them straight at him and his friends. The young master stands his ground as blades start flying toward him. He doesn't look scared or even tense. Instead, he just gets ready, eyes focused, waiting for the attack to hit. He darts across the battlefield, fast enough that it almost doesn't look real. Before anyone even blinks, he snatches every sword out of the air, not missing a single one. He shows up holding the weapons, looking like he grabbed them without even thinking, watches him, clearly impressed. The instructor just stands there, completely still, looking at the young guy like he can't believe what just happened. His face shows it all. He's trying to process what he's seeing, and for a moment he doesn't even move. The guy realizes there's no way he can win, so he panics and bolts straight into the trees, hoping to get away. A moment later, he comes back, looking a little embarrassed but trying to play it cool. He admits that it was all just a misunderstanding, hoping everyone will laugh it off. He asks the young master if he can have his swords back, and lets him know he'll head out once he gets them. Just as the young man gets ready to throw the weapons, someone sneaks up behind the instructor and attacks him when he's not looking. He grinned, looking like he was up to no good, and then launched a huge burst of fire straight at the main character. The attack rips through the forest, smashing trees and tossing branches everywhere. Stuff gets wrecked fast, with nothing able to stand in the way. Wu nodded and handed the weapons back, tossing them over to the instructors just like he said he would. The guy stood there, his whole body burnt and smoking, just staring in disbelief. He'd thrown everything he had into that last move, but somehow it hadn't done a thing to his opponent. It just didn't make sense, and he struggled to process what had just happened. The fire shot straight at the guy, but instead of burning him, it just faded away before it could even touch him. He stood there, completely fine, not even a mark on his skin. Wu didn't pay any attention to the guy. Instead, he pulled out his phone and reached out to the girl, letting her know it was time to head back and get started on cooking. Right before they head out, the fox walks up to the instructor. He signals that he wants to talk, and it's clear this isn't just some casual chat. She shoots him a hard glare, making it clear she's not messing around. He gets the message right away. Whatever just happened, he better not mention it to anyone. The man can't stop nodding, his hands shaking and sweat rolling down his face. He's clearly scared, just trying to keep the girl calm as he goes along with whatever she says. Wu signaled to head out, and she hurried after him, grinning as she went. Little hearts floated around her, showing just how happy she was to be with him. The instructor stands there, watching as the two guys head off. They're carrying the huge snake's body in one hand like it's nothing. He drops to his knees, looking around and trying to figure out who those strangers are and where they showed up from. He grinned to himself, knowing they might get to enjoy some peace for a little while, but deep down, he was sure it wouldn't stay that way. He decides he's going to tell the Academy's old ancestor everything that happened. In his mind, those cultivators aren't getting off easy. He'll make sure they pay for what they did. While this was going on, the girl noticed how he took down those cultivators, but still kept calling himself a regular guy. She couldn't help but wonder how someone so normal-looking could handle stuff like that and act like it was no big deal. The young guy knows he wouldn't stand a chance against a real cultivator. He figures the man earlier was just playing around with them, not being serious at all. He thinks that since he's just a regular guy without any special powers, he's got to work even harder on his body. He keeps walking and casually wraps the snake's tail around himself, like it's no big deal, almost like he's just stretching before a workout. Can't help noticing how clueless he is sometimes, but honestly, that just makes him look even more likable. Watching him fumble through things finds it kind of charming in its own way. The story cuts to a view of tall mountains, with a narrow path winding through them. The couple is heading along this trail, surrounded by the rugged landscape. It's pretty clear they've got a long way to go, and the place looks quiet except for the sound of their footsteps and the wind. Wu showed up at the entrance of a dark cave holding the food. He let everyone know he was heading inside, taking careful steps as he went in. The shadows inside seemed even deeper when he walked through, but he kept moving, focused on bringing the food with him. Right at the entrance of the cave, there was a sign letting everyone know about the demon inside and listing out 10 big crimes that could never be forgiven. Inside the cave, a big, intimidating guy stands guard. He looks ticked off, demanding to know who just stepped into his turf. The place feels tense, and it's clear this isn't somewhere people wander into by accident. The main guy just grinned, looking totally chill, and let everyone know he'd brought snake meat for dinner. The guy's face shifts, like he's surprised but also kind of glad. It's like he's been waiting for this moment, and now that Lincoln's finally shown up, he can't help but react. Behind the bars, the guys start getting restless, their eyes locked on the food. Hunger's got everyone on edge, and they can't help but call out to him, hoping he'll hand over some of the meat. The young man tries to get his point across, letting them know that even though these guys don't exactly look friendly, they're actually his uncles who really look out for him. Out of nowhere, the guy who looked like he was in charge started to lose his cool. He looked upset and seemed to be arguing about something that actually mattered. Wu Di's dad waited for his son, getting a little impatient since it had already been 3 hours without seeing him. He couldn't help but let his son know he wasn't happy about being ignored for that long. The young man showed up late, saying he got held up hunting and making food. He thought about how his dad always loses his temper over stuff like this. The man wondered if his son had been talked into coming back down the mountain by the girl, but the son shook his head, letting him know that wasn't the case. The dad's face turned red as he made it clear his son couldn't go down the mountain. He wasn't having any of it. He thought the world outside was way too risky. Wu and didn't expect their dad to blow up like that. He kept yelling at them, way more than they thought he would. Both of them stood there, caught off guard, not really sure what to do next. Even after being locked away for 20,000 years, the man can't forget how tricky the people from the righteous side can be. It's like their schemes are burned into his memory, as fresh as ever. He keeps talking, looking serious, and asks his son if he really wants to make him go through the pain of losing his own kid. The weight of the moment hangs in the air, making it clear how much he cares and how scared he is deep down. The young master drops his head, showing he's sorry to his dad. But even as he does, there's this look in his eyes that says he isn't done yet, like there's more on his mind he just can't keep in. He glared, clearly fed up with hearing the same stuff over and over for what felt like forever. The dad stands there, totally caught off guard by what his son just did. He doesn't say a word, just staring at him, trying to figure out how to even respond. He decides he's done with being stuck in that forest. Even if things get dangerous or he ends up getting hurt, he'd rather take his chances than stay there any longer. The other guys think he doesn't get how things really work. They figure if he tries to leave now, he'll just mess up his chances for good since he's not strong enough yet. The girl steps in, cutting off their argument. She tells them they just ran into a cultivator from the righteous past. Everyone goes quiet for a second, trying to process what she just said. She mentions the guy was supposed to be really powerful, way above most people, but just took him out with one punch. The dad looks around, kind of surprised to see a well-known cultivator in this place. He starts thinking about his son, wondering if the kid has really leveled up that much. Even then, he points out to the guy that he's just a regular person, nothing special going on with powers or anything like that. He wonders how the young guy is going to deal with tougher opponents, even if he's already as strong as they are. The man warns him not to get too cocky after beating a couple of cultivators. Just because he won a fight or two doesn't mean he's unstoppable. The main guy makes it clear he doesn't care about being unbeatable. He's got his sights set on something way more important than just winning every fight. He tells everyone that the only way he can break the seal and save them is by getting to the tribulation stage. The dad was really mad. He looked around at the other guys, trying to find out who told his son that. But as soon as he asked, everyone quickly shook their heads and said no, not wanting to get blamed. The young man thinks back to all the times his dad had his back, no matter what. Even after being trapped away for 20,000 years, his father never stopped looking out for him. He stands there, feeling more grown-up than ever. Deep down, he knows it's finally his turn to step up for his dad and the rest of his family. Right then, the girl steps in and points out that everyone's missing something important. She lets him know that because doesn't have any evil vibes about him, nobody's going to figure out who he really is. The dad can't shake off his concern. He knows that if his son lets out any sign of demonic energy while trying to level up, things could go really bad for him, like game over bad. The young man had already decided what he was going to do. He let his dad know he didn't want any blame put on him, then turned around and started walking out of the cave. The man stands there watching his son walk away. His face shows he's sad, but he doesn't try to stop him. Deep down, he knows his son has made up his mind, and he lets him go, even though it hurts. He was just about to head out when his dad suddenly called out, telling him to wait. Before he could react, something came flying his way, tossed by his dad from across the room. The young man snags the object out of the air, staring at it for a second. He's not really sure why his dad tossed it over or what it's even supposed to be, so he just stands there, trying to figure it out. He spots a small amulet just big enough to fit in his hand. His name is written right on it, clear as day. There's also a weird symbol on the front, something he's never seen before. The dad shows him what he's holding. Turns out, it's the ticket for the academy's entrance exam. His dad figures that if his son is so set on heading down the mountain, that might as well be his first destination. Academy stands at the top when it comes to cultivator schools. Every student who finishes there walks out with a golden core. The girl wondered if going there might actually make things worse, but her dad told her that spot was the safest option they had. The academy offered all kinds of ways to get stronger, so it seemed like the perfect place for his son to figure out what he wanted to do. The young master grabs the snake meat and gets ready to cook. He's not just making a meal, he's gearing up for whatever comes next on his journey. There's a sense of routine in how he works, but you can tell he's thinking ahead, focused on what he needs to do before he sets out again. He slung a huge backpack over his shoulders, waved to everyone, and let them know he was off to academy. The girl wanted to know how his dad managed to get that rare pass, even though he was stuck, but he just kept quiet and didn't tell her anything. The man realizes he can't protect his son anymore, so he starts thinking about what he can do to keep him safe. He knows he needs to figure something out, and the thought weighs heavy on him. He decided the academy was the safest bet for making sure the guy stayed alive. The dad finally decides it's time to let her in on something important about his son. There's a secret about the boy's body that she needs to know, and the dad looks serious as he gets ready to explain it. He told the nearly all-powerful nine-tailed fox to watch over the young guy no matter what happened. She gets why the mission matters, but she still brings up a pretty important point that needs to be figured out. She looked pretty bored, just glancing around and wondering who'd bring them something to eat once those two took off. All the guys suddenly looked tense. They all turned to the girl, eyes wide, clearly caught off guard by the question. It's obvious they're searching for some kind of answer, hoping someone else will speak up first. Their dad calls out, telling everyone to hurry up and eat. He says this is the last decent meal they'll get for a while. The fox gets ready to head out after saying goodbye to the old man. She's about to leave, but then he stops her and calls her back. He wants to give her one last warning before she goes. She's clearly annoyed and wants to know what he's doing there. She lets him know she's done bringing food for anyone at that place. The man lets her know things are getting bad fast. He tells her the world is about to fall apart and they don't have much time. He lets Lincoln know that whatever power Lincoln has inside him needs to come out soon. There isn't much time left and things are starting to get serious. The view shifts to the front gates of Academy, a massive building where tons of young guys are hoping to become powerful cultivators one day. The place looks serious, with students everywhere, each one sizing up the competition and wondering what the future holds. The guards kept a close eye on the crowd, making sure everyone stayed in line. They watched for anyone trying to sneak ahead and made it clear that nobody was allowed to mess around or break the rules. The candidates could tell the guards weren't messing around. Everyone had to wait their turn, no exceptions. Everyone was getting ready for the exam, holding onto their tokens and waiting for things to kick off. Some Some looked nervous, others tried to act cool, but deep down, they all just wanted to get started. With his huge suitcase in hand, the guy checks out the place, trying to blend in and not stand out. Everyone gathered around as the instructor pointed to the stone lion sitting by the entrance. The group realized it was time to take out their tokens and drop them into the lion's mouth, just like they'd been told. Some of the guys looked a little nervous, but most just went along with it, curious about what would happen next. The statue checks if everyone's passes are real and looks out for anyone who might be a demon spy hiding in the group. The instructor pointed to the first guy in line, signaling for him to get moving and kick off the verification process. The young guy steps up to the lion statue, his hand a little shaky as he slides his token into the open mouth. He tries to be careful, not wanting to mess anything up, but anyone watching could tell he's a bit on edge. A blue light glows from the statue, showing that the pass is real and the candidate is good to go. The instructor steps aside and lets the young guy walk in. He nods in thanks, feeling pretty relieved that he made it through the first hurdle. Starts to get really anxious. He can't shake off the thought that the token from his dad might not even be real. His mind races, second-guessing everything, and he tries to hide how uneasy he is. He takes a deep breath, trying to chill out. Since he never messes with demonic cultivation, he figures there's no way anyone will notice him. Out of nowhere, someone lets out a loud scream, grabbing everyone's attention. Heads snap toward the line as people try to figure out what just went down. A demonic cultivator got caught by the statue when it suddenly grabbed his hand and refused to let him go. One of the guys started talking about the lion, saying it was built from some kind of special stuff. Apparently, if the lion senses anything weird, it just locks on and won't let go. The guy drops to his knees, panicking. He tries to explain himself, saying all he did was fake a token. He isn't some evil cultivator or anything like that. He's desperate, hoping someone will believe him and let him go. The instructor looked around the room, then pointed at the main guy. It was finally his turn. The guy with the big backpack stands out the most. Out of everyone there, he looks like the one to keep an eye on. The group waits, watching as he's told to put his token in. The young man's hands shook as he stepped up to the stone lion. His heart raced, and he could barely catch his breath. This test mattered a lot to him, maybe even more than he wanted to admit. Every step felt heavier, but he couldn't turn back now. Without warning, the ground begins to shake hard, catching everyone off guard. The other candidates look around, unsure what's going on, some thinking it might actually be an earthquake. The statue clamps its jaws around the guy's arm, sinking in hard. Pain shoots through him, sharp and overwhelming, making it almost impossible to think straight. Nobody saw it coming, but the token actually works. The instructor just goes along with it, acting like nothing's wrong. The young man lets out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. He relaxes, glad he got by the statue without getting caught. Inside, he can't help but feel a small victory, and a smile creeps onto his face as he moves on. The stone lion's eyes suddenly glow red, and it looks like it's seriously upset with the young guy. The whole statue suddenly lights up with a red glow. The main guy stands there, totally lost, trying to figure out what's going on. The statue suddenly clamps down on his arm, its jaws locking tight. Cracks race across the stone, the pressure getting way worse. He can feel the strength behind it, way more than he expected from something that just looked like a statue a second ago. Out of nowhere, the lion's head comes flying off and smacks right into the young master's other arm. For a second, he just freezes, trying to process what just happened. The young guy barely does anything, but somehow, the whole statue just falls apart right in front of everyone. All eyes are on him as the pieces hit the ground, and he stands there, not really sure how it all happened. The instructor just stands there, totally stunned by what he's seeing. Meanwhile, the main guy looks at the mess he made, not really sure what to think about it all. He crouches down, his face turning red, and starts gathering the pieces he dropped. He's clearly embarrassed about the accident, hoping no one's making a big deal out of it. The instructor loses his cool, making it clear he's a demonic cultivator too. Right away, he tells everyone to grab the guy. The guards moved in around him, closing off any way to slip by. His mind raced, confused, because he was sure his pass had already been approved. The man lets him know that the lion goes after anything that gives off demonic energy. It doesn't wait or hesitate. Once it picks up on that kind of vibe, it's ready to attack. The young man suddenly freaks out, worried that just being around his family for so long messed him up somehow. He can't stop thinking about it, convinced that whatever's going on with him must be from living with them all these years. Right when they were about to drag him off, the fox girl showed up. She jumped in and told everyone to cut it out, grabbing their attention all at once. Everyone could tell she thought they were being careless. As she walked by, people couldn't help but stare. She was just that good looking. The instructor looked over and spotted someone from the monster clan getting involved with the academy. Right away, he wanted to know what this guy was doing there, and why he was messing around in academy business. The whole situation had everyone's attention, with people wondering what would happen next. She skips the question and walks right up to the guy, grabbing his arm like she's not letting go. She steps up and makes it clear she's looking out for. She wants to know what reason there is for her to stay out of this. The other guys look at him, eyes wide. They can't help but think he's got to come from some big shot family family. The man glanced down at the admission pass in his hand. The fox nudged him, hinting that he should really check out where the pass came from. Something about it seemed off, and the man realized he hadn't paid much attention to it until now. The instructor glanced down and spotted something on the ground. Right away, he realized it was the token from the most famous sect out there, the one everyone talked about. She explains it comes from a sect that disappeared about 20,000 years ago, and Ling Jin is the last person left who can carry on what they started. One of the candidates can't help but wonder how the strongest sect out there could actually get wiped out by a demonic cult. It just doesn't add up, and the thought sticks in his mind, making him curious and a bit uneasy about what really happened. One of the guys spoke up, letting everyone know that the sect actually called itself the #1 sect in the world. The fox girl seemed to get it. She knew the past was messed up because of all the demonic energy hanging around. The instructor figured the boy ended up with the legacy by mistake. He knew this was a big deal and realized he'd have to be extra careful about what happened next. He lets the couple leave, but tells them to stay out of trouble. The main guy promises they won't do anything dumb. The fox grabs the young guy and leads him into the academy. As the doors close behind them, it really hits that their new adventure is starting now. She tries to help him relax, but the guy can't help it. He's still on edge about everything going on. She tells him to just be himself, saying that if he keeps acting normal, nobody will guess who he really is. As they walked through the academy gates, they stepped into a massive courtyard packed with students everywhere. Some were hanging out in groups, others messing around or just looking around, all buzzing with energy. A man stands high up in a tower, watching the new students arrive. His face looks pretty serious, and there's something about the way he stares that makes him seem kind of intimidating. Is one of the instructors at the academy. Right now, he's watching the new guys who just showed up, keeping an eye on how they're doing. Another instructor walks over, curious about how the new students are handling things this year. Looks over the group and thinks they're actually pretty decent. She notices a few students who really stand out and could go far if they keep at it. He thinks from Eugene, Peak, and T from the sect are solid examples to follow. The young master from the He sect walked up too, and with a confident look, asked her to join him for some dual cultivation. The girl doesn't even bother to look at him. She just brushes him off and tells him to leave, making it clear she's not interested. Everyone around started talking about her, the girl who somehow hit the foundation stage when she was just 11. Guys looked at her, kind of impressed, since pulling that off at her age wasn't normal at all. Even the ones who didn't usually care about this kind of thing couldn't help but notice. Remembers what her dad said and starts to think he was right. Looking around at all the new faces, she doesn't see anyone who really stands out to her. No one here seems worth her time, so she decides not to bother paying much attention to them. Looked around at the new students and thought they seemed pretty solid. Still, he couldn't shake the sense that something just didn't add up. Out of nowhere, he spots the main guy throwing huge weights up like it's nothing. He can't help but stare, thinking to himself how wild that looks. The other instructor let out a laugh, making it clear he thought the guy had only just finished the Q refining stage. Looks at the guy and thinks he's just way too flashy. She doubts he'll even make it past the first round. He jumps off the tower and heads straight for the new students, getting ready to kick off the admission exam. The candidates watch as the instructor takes off, flying through the air like it's no big deal. They can't help but be a little amazed, seeing someone make something that tough look so easy. The guy steps up and lets everyone know he's the one checking out the new students. He goes on to break down what's going to happen next. To become a disciple at the academy, everyone had to get through every single test. If you missed even one, you were out. No second chances. Only the ones who made it all the way got the shot. The main guy keeps staring at the instructor, trying to figure out why he looks so familiar. It's bugging him. He's sure they've crossed paths before, but the memory just won't come back. The man raises his voice at the young guy, clearly annoyed that he's being stared at so weirdly. The young guy looks caught off guard, not sure what to do as the older man keeps glaring at him. It's tense, and anyone watching would probably feel awkward too. He gets all flustered and tries to talk his way out of it, but whatever he says ends up making the instructor look over at him. He notices a shiny wire on the man's back that catches the light, making it stand out. Everyone glances up and spots the instructor dangling from a wire, kind of like a puppet on strings. Out of nowhere, the wire breaks, and he drops right in front of the students, leaving them frozen and wide-eyed. He walks up to the guy and lets him know he's interested to see how he does on the next test. The wire yanked him back up into the air, leaving the instructor clearly annoyed by how embarrassing things had gotten. He gets annoyed at his assistant for messing up the stop and shoots him a look that basically says, "Don't mess up again." The white-haired girl watched the academy instructor struggle in the air, surprised he couldn't even fly right. The other instructor watches the young guy and can tell something's up. He figures the kid probably made the wrong person mad, and now he's dealing with the consequences. Out of nowhere, the instructor pulls off his shirt, revealing a seriously built body that catches everyone's attention in the room. The students can't help but stare, a little surprised by how strong he looks. He tries to play it off like he was just joking around to keep things chill, but then he gets serious and lets everyone know the first round of the test is about to begin. The young master looks at the instructor, thinking this whole thing is just weird. He's not sure if the guy lost it or what, and for a second he actually considers tearing his own shirt to get things going. One of the students notices how strong the instructor looks, catching on to his vibe right away. The realization hits him, and he can't help but stare, surprised that the instructor is actually that powerful. He explains that it's actually the legendary sacred punching bag body, which is a super rare ability. The ability works by taking in attacks from enemies and turning that energy into something the user can use for themselves. Basically, he can't really get hurt by anyone who's on his level or weaker. The main character can't believe that to get stronger, you actually have to enjoy taking hits. Just thinking about it makes his stomach turn. It's not what he expected at all. He always thought training was about dodging and landing your own punches, not about liking the pain. The idea really throws him off, and he's left wondering if he's even cut out for this. The instructor tells everyone what's up for today. They're each supposed to throw a punch at him. He'll watch closely and figure out who's got potential just by how they hit. The group gets ready, some guys looking nervous, others trying to act confident, wondering how tough this test will really be. The older guy shot the younger one a hard look. He made it clear he was the one running this test, and that he was going to make sure the kid didn't pass. The man looked right at the young master and picked him to go first in the test. The main guy walks up to the instructor, letting him know to be prepared, since he's actually pretty strong. The guy just laughs it off, acting like he's untouchable. Even someone way stronger wouldn't be able to lay a finger on him. He keeps teasing the younger dude, totally confident that someone with barely any experience wouldn't stand a chance against him. Before he could even finish talking, the main guy stepped in and landed a heavy punch right on him. The hit is brutal. The instructor gets launched across the training yard, crashing straight through part of the academy building. The wall cracks and crumbles where he lands, leaving everyone staring, mouths open, not sure what just happened. The other candidates freeze, eyes glued to what's happening in front of them. No one moves or says a word, caught off guard by what they're seeing. For a second, it's like time stops, and all they can do is watch. The other instructor just stands there, not saying anything. He's staring at the damage from the young guy's punch, clearly caught off guard by how much destruction it caused. The young master peeks through the hole in the wall, staring at the chaos he made. It's a mess, stuff scattered everywhere, and he knows it's all his fault. For a second, he just stands there, taking it all in, wondering how he's going to explain this one. His face goes pale, sweat starts to drip down his forehead. That's when it hits him. He pushed way too hard, and now he's completely screwed. He spots the instructor sprawled out in the rubble, totally out cold and not moving, clearly beaten. The guy is out cold, lying there with foam coming from his mouth. It's pretty clear he got hit hard. The guy doesn't even look at the mess behind him. He just turns around, curious if this means he made it through. Most of the students see what just happened and start stepping back from the guy, not wanting to get anywhere near him. They're all pretty sure he's way stronger than he looks, and no one wants to risk messing with him. The fox moves quickly across the rooftops, getting as close as he can to watch everything unfold below. She looks over at her brother, a small smile on her face. Deep down, she isn't surprised that everyone's already noticing him. Honestly, she kind of saw it coming. The other guys in the room start to question what just happened. They can't figure out how the instructor went down, especially since everyone thought he couldn't be hurt by anything they tried. The white-haired girl starts to notice she isn't the only person keeping her real power under wraps. The instructor, always dressed in bright colors, walked over to his coworker who was on the ground. He looked at the scene, clearly taking in what had just happened, and his reaction showed he was actually kind of impressed. The old guy could tell the young man's punch packed some serious power, almost as strong as someone who was close to reaching the nascent soul stage. Out of nowhere, the guy who was on the ground pushes himself up. His eyes snap open, and there's this intense anger in them, way stronger than before. He jumps up fast, locking eyes with the protagonist. His face is tight with anger, and there's no doubt he's ready to stand his ground. He runs up to the guy, grabs his arm, and starts shouting at him for what just happened. He grumbles about getting caught off guard, annoyed that the guy aimed for his face instead of his stomach. The chubby guy notices that the instructor wasn't ready for the punch, which explains why he couldn't handle it. The man tells him that the last test didn't matter, and warns that if he tries to pull off any sneaky moves again, he's out. He turns on his special move, the immovable sacred punching bag bow. The other guy starts talking, making it clear this move is no joke. He points out that what they're seeing is the top-tier way to block anything. It takes all the energy and just turns it straight into defense. Nothing's getting through that. The instructor explained that he uses this move during final tests. He seemed pretty confident, saying that no matter how hard anyone tried, nobody could make him budge. The protagonist follows up with another strong punch, landing it square in the guy's chest. The instructor takes the hit right in the chest, but he just stands there like nothing nothing happened. He doesn't even budge. Everyone else in the class noticed how he just stood there, not even flinching. They couldn't help but look over, kind of surprised at how steady he was. Some of them started whispering to each other, clearly impressed that he didn't react at all. But the other instructor looks around and starts to sense that something isn't right. He gets this uneasy feeling, like there's more going on than what he's seeing, and he can't help but grow suspicious. The instructor, always full of energy, lets everyone know that his coworker actually fainted while still on his feet because the hit hurt that much. He wants to keep things calm, so he just tells everyone they've made it through the first round of the exam. The students start cheering after getting the green light, but in the back of their minds, they can't help but wonder where the main guy actually is right now. The white-haired guy walked over, looking kind of surprised to see someone else who seemed tough hanging around. Steps forward, letting everyone know he's from the sect. He casually mentions that his hobby happens to be dual cultivation, not really caring how that sounds to the others. He isn't exactly thrilled, but he goes along with calling the guy his brother. The younger guy can't help but think about whether he wants something else out of this whole situation. The chubby dude from the TNG sect walks over, looking a bit hopeful. He wants to join in and be accepted as a younger brother too. He said he'd give them the right info if the two tough guys promised to keep him safe. The boy liked to think he knew everything about everyone, always gathering info on people around him. But when it came to the mysterious new guy, he realized he didn't have a single fact. It bugged him. He wasn't used to coming up empty. He gives a quick smile and wants to know which sector school the young master goes to. The main guy starts to get really nervous. He can't help but stumble over his words, trying to explain that he's just out here on his own, not part of any group or clan. Out of nowhere, the girl with white hair walks up, and the crowd parts so she can get through. Everyone just steps aside, letting her pass like she's someone important. She thinks he's always trying to be in the spotlight. She's ready to prove there's a real gap between someone like him and someone who's actually a genius. After calling him out, she just turns around and walks off. The guy stands there, not really sure what just happened. He's left standing in the hallway, trying to figure out what he did wrong, his mind racing and not getting any answers. From a distance, a young guy in a hoodie kept his eyes on everything happening. No one could really tell what was going on in his head. He just stood there, keeping to himself and watching quietly. The instructor, always full of energy and wearing bright clothes, reminded everyone not to get ahead of themselves. The next challenge was already lined up, so there was no time for anyone to relax or start celebrating. Everyone in the room stayed on edge, waiting to see what would happen next. He hits the red button on the remote, and right away, weird stuff starts happening to everyone around him. No one saw it coming. Suddenly, the ground gives way under their feet. They drop straight down into a dark room below, the walls covered in a grid pattern. Everything happens so fast, leaving them scrambling to figure out where they've landed. All the candidates looked around, confused, as the whole floor suddenly started shaking hard under their feet. The whole room starts shaking, so they grab onto each other just to stay on their feet. Outside the room, there's this huge metal cube just hanging in the air, right in the center of the academy. Inside the cube, a bunch of robot statues with glowing red eyes get ready to go after the candidates. Rows of robots, all suited up in armor and wearing sharp helmets, stand side by side. They look set to kick off the next test, staying perfectly still as if they're waiting for someone to give the signal. The students stand frozen as massive machines close in around them. There's no way out, nowhere to duck or sneak away. All they can do is watch, hoping for something, anything, to change the situation. A guy with a flashy style steps up and lets everyone know his name is. He tells the group he's the one in charge of the second round, so all eyes are on him now. He lets everyone know that every single puppet and how they move was built by his own group, the Pavilion. During the test, the machines just kept coming at him, launching all sorts of weapons that popped out from inside them. The test was simple. As long as the incense stick kept burning, that's how long the challenge would go. Guys who could tough it out the longest would end up with the best scores. He lit an incense stick and placed it on the unconscious instructor. Deep down, he didn't really trust luck to get him through the week. The main guy stands in front of the robots, listening as the instructor tells everyone that the weapons aren't just for show. They're the real deal. The robots' eyes lit up blue as they aimed right at the students, getting ready to shoot. The instructor grinned, looking like he was up to something, and told everyone this place was called the candidates' graveyard. Then, without wasting any time, he kicked off the test. Beams of light shot out from the robots, forcing the students to sprint and dive out of the way as fast as they could. Hearts pounding, everyone tried to stay clear of the glowing blasts, barely keeping ahead of the danger. The machines opened their mouths and fired lasers, turning the test room into a mess. A lot of the guys taking the test get knocked down and just quit, while some keep pushing through, doing whatever they can to stay in the game. The instructor stands off to the side, checking out what's happening. He notices the guy from the He-1 sect holding his own, not struggling as much as some of the others might have thought. It's clear the instructor is paying close attention, probably making a mental note of how this guy's doing so far. The white-haired guy senses danger coming from behind and pulls off a move he's practiced before, making sure he doesn't get hit. He's pretty confident in his skills, always saying that thanks to his technique, nobody can sneak up on him from behind. Out of nowhere, a beam slams right into his chest. He freezes, caught off guard by the sudden hit straight from the front. The instructor acts like he never said a word and quickly looks off to the side, clearly embarrassed about what just slipped out. The instructor, always known for his flashy style, couldn't help but notice how strong one of the new guys looked. He wasn't expecting someone like that to show up, and it definitely caught him off guard. The white-haired girl moves fast, slipping past every attack like she's done this 100 times before. Even though she doesn't look tough at first glance, she handles herself with ease, showing everyone she's not someone to mess with. She notices the protagonist just standing there in the middle of the battlefield, not moving at all. It catches her off guard. She definitely wasn't expecting him to just freeze up like that while everything else is going wild around him. He quickly smashes the floor under him and drops into a crouch, dodging the beams just in time. He lets out a breath, glad that he's safe from the robot's attacks for now. The instructor starts shouting at him, making it clear the test is all about being fast. Hiding isn't going to cut it here. Everyone's watching, and it's obvious he's expected to step up and move, not just lay low. The guy in charge gives the young man a serious look, making it clear that if he wrecks any more of his prized robots, he's out of the competition. The white-haired girl steps forward, determined to help the guy out of the situation. She looks ready to jump in and do something about it. The other instructor steps in, snatching the remote control out of nowhere. She makes it clear she isn't about to spend her time on this guy, turning her attention somewhere else without a second thought. He lights a cigarette, looking calm and confident. It's clear he's about to show the young guy what his puppets can really do. He grinned to himself as he slammed his finger down on the button, kicking the battle robot into its strongest mode. Right in front of everyone, the machines began to shake and fall apart. All the guys standing there watched as the pieces scattered, nervously glancing at each other, not sure what was going to happen next. The robot parts started snapping together, each piece finding its place like it was meant to be. Before anyone knew it, all the separate bits had turned into one massive machine, towering over everything else in the room. A blinding light flashes across the field as the two robots come together. When the light fades, there's a brand new giant robot standing there, way bigger and tougher than before. He freezes, staring at the scene, trying to figure out if those really are the Transformers he remembers from before. The chubby guy pointed out that this was a fusion, and let everyone know the robots just got a whole lot tougher. He mentions that the puppets' weapons are covered in a dangerous poison that could really mess someone up. The boy realizes something's wrong when his head starts spinning and everything around him blurs. He's so dizzy that he can barely stay on his feet, and it hits him that he must have been poisoned. The instructor steps in, making it clear that this isn't what he planned. He watches the students, realizing they're pushing things way beyond what a normal test should be. The other guy checks if he really wants to stop the cocky kid from passing the test, and he nods. The giant robot launches a bunch of shots, and the main guy reacts fast, weaving out of the way. He moves fast, slipping past every attack like it's nothing, and before anyone knows it, he's already way ahead of the other guys. The young man glances over his shoulder and notices the others getting caught by the attacks he managed to avoid. He can't help but feel bad for getting his friends caught up in all this. It's clear he wishes he hadn't messed up, and he's quick to own up to it, letting them know he's sorry for what happened. The instructor warned there'd be more robots coming after him, but the young guy looked like he already had something figured out. He stands in the middle of all these huge machines, getting ready for the robot's last attack. He stands there, energy practically buzzing around him, ready to take on the machines. He looks focused, not backing down, just set on pushing through whatever's coming at him. The instructors let him know that if he breaks another robot, he's out of the competition right away. The other students notice that every robot in the room is locked onto him. Seeing this, they quietly let out a breath, glad the trouble isn't coming their way. The white-haired girl watches him and starts to believe her dad might have been right about the guy. She wonders if he's gotten himself into something bad. The main guy stands right in the middle of the robots, not moving an inch. He looks focused, almost like he's getting ready to do something big. He thinks this is the only shot he's got to fix things, so he gets ready to make his move. He pushes off the ground hard, sending himself up into the air and heading straight for the giant robot. He slams his fist down on the robot's head, smashing it apart in one clean hit. The robot's metal shell crumples under the force, and pieces scatter all over the floor. The instructors stare, trying to figure out how he just pulled off that move in the air. None of them can really believe what they saw, and they look at each other, searching for some kind of explanation. None of the other guys get what's going on. They look at him, trying to figure out what level he's actually at now. The chubby guy lets everyone know he's not flying with spiritual powers or anything like that. He's doing it differently, using something nobody really expects. He pushes off the ground with just his legs, launching himself up and hanging in the air for a moment longer than anyone would expect. Nobody expected the young guy to be this strong. The crowd watches him, surprised at how easily he handles things, some of them even pulling out their phones to record. It's clear he's got way more power than anyone thought, and people just stare, not really sure how to react. The instructor points out that even the strongest guys can't stay airborne forever. There's always a limit, and eventually, everyone has to come back down. He tells the robots to target the spot where the guy is about to land, hoping to catch him off guard. The main guy notices things are getting risky, and starts thinking about his next move, since taking out the robots isn't an option. He suddenly thinks of a plan and grabs one of the robots, trying to use it like a springboard to launch himself somewhere else. He moves fast, landing right on top of the spears, and using them to push himself in a new direction while still in the air, dodging the attack just in time. He drops down right in front of the girl with white hair. She looks at him, clearly caught off guard, her eyes wide as she tries to figure out what just happened. The young man got down on one knee right in front of her. He looked up, smiling, and waited to see what she'd do now that they were finally together. The girl's cheeks turn red, and she starts to second-guess the guy in front of her. Her dad's warnings about shady guys flash through her mind, and she can't help but wonder if this is one of those moments he was talking about. Out of nowhere, he ducks behind her, using her as cover while the robot starts firing off attacks. The girl quickly lifts her swords, stopping the beams just in time. She's clearly not happy about being put in the line of fire. The guy, realizing what he's done, looks guilty and admits it was the only idea he had to get out of trouble. She charges at him, swinging her sword with all her anger, but he's fast enough to step aside just in time, dodging her attack. She locks eyes with him, her glare sharp and steady. You can tell she's not messing around. There's real anger in her face, and she looks totally focused, like she's ready to end this right now. Out of nowhere, the main guy spots flames heading toward them. He quickly reacts, trying to get her attention and make her stop before things get worse. The other students stood around, watching as Boss Lincoln kept slipping away from every attack. Some of them started pointing it out to each other, impressed by how he managed to avoid getting hit every time. The instructor just laughed, looking at him stuck with attacks flying in from every direction. There was no way out now. The two instructors stood back, keeping an eye on everything from a distance. They were curious to see how the guy would handle the situation. Out of nowhere, the incense stick hanging from one instructor's mouth slipped and dropped, and in that moment, someone suddenly thought of a plan. The instructor, dressed in bright clothes that definitely stood out, had something up his sleeve. He stared straight at the main guy, eyes cold and unfriendly, making it clear he was out to mess with him. The white-haired girl watches him, unsure if he's about to call it quits. But the guy doesn't look defeated at all. There's something different in his eyes, like he's already planning his next move. He turns to her, grinning like he's got everything under control. It looks like he already knows how they're getting out of this mess. He takes a slow breath and focuses, pulling a lot of energy together inside himself. The instructors watch him, confused as he starts taking deep breaths, especially since it looks like he's about to reach his limit. Out of nowhere, he takes a deep breath and lets out a huge blast of air. The wind shoots through the room, smacking into everyone there. The other candidates get caught up in it, stumbling around and trying not to get knocked off their feet. Some nearly lose their balance, grabbing onto whatever they can to avoid being tossed across the place. The instructor figures the guy is just pretending and probably can't actually take them on. A sudden blast of wind blows through, totally wrecking the instructor's hair. He's left standing there, looking kinda rough and embarrassed, like he just lost a fight with the weather. He walks up to the guy and lets him know he needs a moment to say something. The young guy noticed the cigarette had stopped burning. He pointed at it, thinking the test incense wasn't working anymore. The instructor, always known for his bright clothes and big personality, suddenly noticed something odd. When the incense burned faster after someone blew on it, he just froze, staring at it. He definitely didn't expect that to happen and stood there, wide-eyed, trying to figure out what just went down. The chubby guy thinks Boss is up to something more than what everyone sees. He figures there's some hidden reason behind all the weird things Boss does. The guy explains that the young man is looking out for everyone else in the room, trying to make sure all the other candidates get something good out of this. The white-haired girl's cheeks turn red, and she gets mad about what just happened, clearly embarrassed by the mess he made. She storms off, face turning red from what she just saw. Clearly, she's not done with this mess yet, but for now, she just wants to get away from everyone watching. He can't help but think about what just happened, confused about why she acted so weird around him. He starts going over everything in his head, trying to figure out if he messed up somewhere. The other students are banged up, but they're thankful the young guy stepped in when things got rough during the test. The instructor, dressed in bright clothes, smiled at the class. He seemed pretty impressed, thinking it had been a long time since he'd seen a freshman quite like this one. Out of nowhere, the academy's dean showed up. He noticed how active things were getting during this year's assessment. Nobody expected the headmaster to show up, so when he walked in, all the students just stared. Some froze in place, others looked around to see if anyone else was seeing what they were seeing. The whole room went quiet, and it felt like everyone was holding their breath, not sure what would happen next. Everyone could tell that he didn't seem all that trustworthy, and his wig looked like it was barely hanging on. The chubby guy lets everyone know that he's actually the legendary legendary red flame Shura. People have heard his name before. He's the kind of guy others don't want to mess with. The news about the dean left the other students scratching their heads. None of them really got what was going on, or why everyone suddenly cared about the dean's backstory. People start to question why someone with such a big reputation would bother with fake red hair. The dean walked up to the main guy, wanting to know his name. He was curious about who this talented kid was. The fox girl stands on the rooftop, her eyes locked on the scene below. She keeps a close watch on the young guy, tense and uneasy about what might happen to him. She's confused about why the headmaster showed up out of nowhere. Now, she's trying to figure out how to clean up this mess. She reaches out with her mind, and suddenly the young guy hears her voice inside his head. He just sits there, totally lost, trying to figure out what's going on. The girl quickly points out that he accidentally knocked off the headmaster's wig. Now, he's got to put it back on fast before anyone notices. The instructor walked over to the headmaster, trying to cool things down. He hoped the headmaster would let things slide and not make a big deal out of it. He thinks that if the instructor was as powerful as the headmaster, handling the young guy wouldn't be an issue at all. The main guy darts toward the headmaster, moving way faster than anyone expected. He snags the wig right out of the air before it can hit the ground. He puts the hat back on the headmaster's head before anyone even realizes what's happening. The headmaster just stands there, caught off guard by how fast the guy moved. The headmaster stared, barely able to process what he just saw. If he hadn't been paying close attention, he probably would have missed it completely. The young master gives a small smile, acting like it's no big deal. He just says he grabbed what he found, brushing it off as nothing special. He doesn't want anyone making a fuss or thanking him for it. The instructor stares at the protagonist, noticing right away that he put the wig on backward. He didn't expect anyone to mess up something that simple, and for a second he just stands there, not sure what to say. The room gets kind of quiet, and a couple of people try not to laugh. Even the protagonist looks confused, probably wondering why everyone's staring. The dean ends up with a flag sticking out of his head, and it looks like he's really hurt. The fox girl starts freaking out, trying to get his attention. She really wants him to notice there's a big difference between her wig and the weapons she's hiding. The instructor grabs the young guy, looking pretty mad, and points at him like he's the one who went after the headmaster. The guy tries to tell him he's got it wrong, but the instructor doesn't look convinced. The dean acts like little stuff like this doesn't bother him, but anyone can see he's hurting pretty bad. The instructor notices that his blood is dripping, but he just brushes it off and acts like it's all part of the test. The main guy notices the headmaster holding it together, acting calm like nothing's wrong. But the fox isn't fooled. He can tell the headmaster's just putting on a front. The headmaster grabs at the weapon stuck in his head, trying to yank it out. Instead of helping himself, he just makes things worse, hurting himself even more. Blood sprays all over the place, and the main guy just freezes, staring at the mess in front of him. He can't believe what he's seeing. His stomach tightens and his mind blanks out for a second. The whole scene way more brutal than he expected. He passes out and drops face first onto the ground right in front of everyone. The other students freeze up, staring at him. The whole scene freaks them out. The instructor rushed over and grabbed the headmaster, holding him close. He looked completely lost, not sure what to do next, but hoping he could help somehow. Most of the students look at him and just think he's some old guy who likes to talk big, but can't actually do anything. The instructor, always loud and hard to miss, let everyone know they'd all made it through the second round. He also told them the next challenge would be tomorrow. He quickly tells them to carry the headmaster over to the alchemy hall, hoping the healers there can help fast. The students glanced at each other, unsure if they actually passed the assessment. Something about the situation just didn't sit right with them. One of the guys gets this weird sense, like he's missing something big, but no matter how hard he thinks, he just can't figure out what it is. It nags at him, but the answer's nowhere to be found. Out of nowhere, the robots kicked back into action and went on the attack. One of the students, clearly panicked, looked straight at Master, hoping he could do something to stop them. The instructor who had annoyed him stood back, watching with a sly grin. He clearly had something up his sleeve, keeping an eye on how things would play out. He didn't really see it coming when the young guy just gave up like that. Still, he got ready to do what needed to be done. The other students grumbled about how tough the test was. Most of them couldn't believe they actually made it through. Some still looked tired, trying to figure out how they even survived. That night in the student dorm, everyone was getting ready for tomorrow. Some guys were packing their bags, double-checking their stuff, while others just lounged around, scrolling on their phones or chatting quietly. The place had that usual buzz before a big day, with some trying to act chill, and others just hoping they wouldn't forget anything important. The fox girl spots the main guy working out when most people would probably be taking a break. She seems curious about why he's pushing himself instead of just chilling for a bit. He wants to get better at what he does, so he keeps practicing. With tomorrow's test coming up, he knows he can't slack off now. She knows the next assessment really matters. If they can get into a higher class, they'll have access to more stuff that can actually help them out. She lets him know he needs to chill sometimes and not just focus on working all the time. Rest is just as important as grinding grinding, and she wants him to remember that. She says she can help by putting some oil on him to clear things up, but he's not sure he trusts her yet. The girl sees as the one who wants to achieve the most out of everyone. But whenever she's around, he acts a bit uneasy, like he's not sure how to handle her attention. He tells her to watch out, and she uses the moment to wrap her arms around him, holding on tight and closing the distance between them. She grins, pretty sure her plan actually worked out, and she got exactly what she was aiming for. Outside, the white-haired girl gets ready to crash for the night, but something's off. She's totally mad at him now, not letting go of what happened. In her head, she's already planning payback, determined to make sure he regrets crossing her. She catches a sound coming from the guy's room and heads over to see what's going on. She heard a strange noise and couldn't help but check it out, so she walked over to the window to see what was going on. She glances through the window and freezes when she sees what's happening in the room. She spots the silhouettes of the main guy and the fox girl in a weird situation, and it freaks her out. Inside the room, the guy is skipping rope with a thick iron chain. He seems like he totally spaced out and forgot he even had it with him. The girl, trying to play it cool, explains that she spilled the wine because of some outside injuries. She starts grabbing napkins and whatever else she can find, getting ready to clean up the mess on the floor. She picks up a cloth and kneels down, cleaning up the mess on the floor where the drink spilled. Out of nowhere, she steps right onto the spilled liquid and her feet slide out from under her. She ends up on the floor, looking pretty awkward, and the way she fell is actually kind of funny. Outside, the girl with white hair stands there, thinking she has to step in and help the other girl out of whatever's going on. She notices the fox's shadow getting closer to the window and realizes she might not be able to save herself in time. She puts her hands over her eyes, her cheeks turning red as she pictures what might be going on. The main guy noticed she was on the ground and checked if she was all right. She brushed it off, saying she just slipped and ended up on the floor by mistake. She stands up and brushes off her clothes, pointing out the big stain from the spilled wine. The guy's face turns red as he catches the scene, and he quickly looks away, not wanting to stare at the girl like that. He heads off to look for some clean clothes she can wear. She gives him a quick nod, grateful that he's actually thinking about what she needs. Out of nowhere, the door slammed open with a loud bang. Someone stormed in, clearly angry. The white-haired girl storms into the room, pointing right at him with fire in her eyes. She's convinced he's some kind of killer and wants him to give up right then and there. She spots the shirtless guy standing next to the fox girl, whose clothes are all ripped up. The whole scene catches her off guard, and she freezes, not sure what to think. She points at him, blaming him for what happened to the girl's body. The fox stands there, confused, trying to figure out how the girl ended up dead. The main guy just stands there, totally lost. Someone's accusing him of being some kind of killer demon, but he has no clue what's going on. Everything feels unreal, and he's just trying to figure out why anyone would point the finger at him. He freaks out, worried that she's figured out he's part of the sect. She cuts him off before he can say anything else, and gets ready to come at him with her sword. The girl grips her sword, and suddenly energy starts to gather around her. It's like she's powering up, ready to show what she's really capable of. Then, without hesitating, she goes all in, sending a wave of swords flying straight at the protagonist, each one moving fast and sharp, like she's putting everything she's got into this attack. The young man realizes there's no other way out. He knows he's going to upset her, but if he doesn't do something, he's going to get hurt. So he gets ready to stand his ground, even if it means she won't be happy about it. He moves fast, weaving through every attack like it's nothing. It almost looks easy the way he slips past everything coming at him. The girl watches him move way faster than she expected. She just stares, not sure if her eyes are playing tricks on her. This is something she's never seen before. She lets everyone know she's not done yet and gets ready to pull out an even stronger move. She shouts and swings her sword straight up, aiming right at him, the blade cutting through the air like it's reaching for the clouds. Her eyes start to shine blue while she focuses everything she's got on launching the attack. The energy blast comes straight at the young guy, and he braces himself, ready to take the hit. He throws a strong punch right into the blast and wipes it out, smashing it apart with pure strength. She freezes as she watches him take the hit for her, the splintered remains of her sword Q lying broken at his feet. Her stomach drops. She can't believe he just used his own body to stop it. Out of nowhere, she senses something going on behind her. She spins around, trying to figure out what's up. The main guy suddenly shows up right behind her and knocks her out with a hit, making her forget everything that just happened. She drops to the ground, completely out cold. The guy just stands there, frozen, unsure what he's supposed to do next. He feels bad about what happened, but he knows he can't let anyone know who he is. That's why he did what he had to do. He focused his energy into his hand, pushing all that strength straight toward his opponent's head. The target's memory gets messed up, leaving them totally out of it and unable to remember what just happened. The fox gives him a look, making it clear he should take her back to her room before anyone else shows up, and things get complicated. The young guy lifts her up onto his shoulders and hurries back to her dorm, moving as fast as he can. He moves quickly across the academy rooftops, sticking to the shadows so nobody spots him under the moonlight. He sets her down close to where he thinks her room is, then gets ready to head out. She started to wake up all of a sudden, which caught him off guard. He got nervous, not sure what he was supposed to do next. He tried to knock her out again, hoping she'd stay down this time, but she just wouldn't stop waking up. Each time she came to, he got more uneasy, realizing that nothing he tried was working. He figured he'd nearly blown his cover, but after wiping her memory, he let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. That close call left his heart pounding, but now he could finally relax a little. But then he notices something way worse, and his stomach sinks as he thinks about the mess he's landed himself in. He stands there looking a bit lost. He can't remember where the girl lives, and there's no clue about how to get her back to her room. The chubby guy stands off to the side, keeping an eye on what's going on. He tries to figure out how the two people in front of him know each other. He steps into the quiet room, noticing no one else is around. Carefully, he sets her down on the bed, making sure she's comfortable so she can get some sleep. He looks around and sees that the room's empty. Figuring she must be using it, he just keeps moving. The girl slowly opened her eyes, looking confused as she tried to figure out where she was and what was going on. Nothing around her looked familiar, and she glanced around, trying to remember how she even got here. He hit her with one last memory, knocking her out cold before walking away. He says sorry again, thinking to himself that he has to keep who he really is a secret. The next morning rolls around, and everyone's up early, getting ready for the next test. Some guys look half awake, others are already pacing, trying to shake off their nerves. There's this quiet buzz all over the place as everyone double-checks their stuff and tries to hype themselves up for what's coming. The white-haired girl opens her eyes, looking around like everything's new. She tries to piece together what happened last night, but her mind's just blank. Nothing comes back to her, no memories or clues, just this weird sense that something important slipped away while she was out. He gets a little uneasy, since he's never tried pulling off that move 3 times in a row on the same guy before. He figures it's safer to deal with some guilt than to risk getting caught and putting his whole family in danger. He steps into the girl's room and stops for a second, taking in the chaos. Clothes are everywhere, stuff is piled up in the corners, and it looks like she hasn't cleaned in weeks. He always thought girls kept their rooms super tidy, so seeing this totally catches him off guard. Out of nowhere, he spots something lying on the floor. He straightens up, eyes locked on whatever it is, his mind racing as he tries to figure out what he just discovered. He spots his wet footprints trailing across the floor and instantly freaks out, realizing he's left a mess that anyone could follow. He snatches up a mop and scrubs at the floor, making sure nothing's left behind. He notices his footprints scattered across the room. Not wanting to leave a mess behind, he grabs what he can and starts cleaning up before heading out. Under the moon's soft glow, a young guy in a hoodie sits quietly inside a small gazebo in the woods, sipping his tea. Everything around him is peaceful, and he just seems to be taking in the night, totally relaxed and enjoying the calm. He could tell someone else was nearby. He didn't bother pretending he hadn't noticed, just called them out and waited for them to step into view. The instructor who had annoyed him earlier showed up and seemed impressed that the young prodigy tracked him down without much trouble. The guy in the hoodie watched everything closely, catching every little detail. He noticed the other boy trying to keep out of sight and wanted to know what he was up to. The guy cuts right to it, asking for some backup with a new kid at school who's already getting on his nerves. The young guy wonders what's in it for him if he helps out, but the instructor says he'll have his back during the next election. He lets the young guy know he'll have his back and help him become the next leader of the family, as long as the guy is willing to help him out first. The guy in the hoodie nods, deciding to go along with the plan. He wants to know who he's up against, so he asks about the student he'll be facing. The instructor points out that the guy everyone's been talking about is actually Wu, the cocky one. Wu flashes a sly smile, looking like he's already planning his next move. He planned to cheat in the drawing and told the young prodigy to just make it look like an accident when taking him out. The young man gave a quick nod, letting the instructor know he was all in. He reminded him about the promise, making sure it wouldn't slip his mind. The next morning rolls around, and everyone's already up and moving. All the students end up gathering in the main hall, getting ready for the next test. Some look tired, probably wishing they'd slept more, while others seem focused, trying to psych themselves up for whatever's coming. The room's buzzing with low chatter and a bit of tension, everyone waiting to see what the day's challenge will be. The instructor, who always dressed in bright clothes, let everyone know that the test was going to be a doubles match. It was a way to see how well they could play together and show off what they'd learned. The instructor called him over again. The guy turned back, wondering what the instructor needed this time. The guy brings up that he needs help with something new, catching everyone off guard with what he shares next. His leg got snagged by a green water dragon, and no matter how hard he tried, he just couldn't break loose by himself. The guy pleads for help, and the young man just looks at him, confused about how this person ever got the job as an instructor. He knows he can't just stand by, so he gets ready to jump in and faces the dragon, gripping his sword tightly. He swings his sword and chops off the dragon's tail, making the beast let go. The instructor, finally free, stumbles away from the dragon's grip. He lands a strong hit, taking down the dragon for good and pulling the guy out of danger. It's done. The instructor drops out of the sky, landing nearby. He looks pretty relieved, like a heavy weight just got lifted off his shoulders. The young guy reaches out and grabs the man before he can hit the ground. The man looks at him, clearly grateful for the help. It's obvious he didn't expect someone to step in like that, but the young guy's quick move made a difference. He tried to get the instructor to let him off the hook, but the guy just looked like he was having way too much fun with it. The young man shoves the instructor into the lake, then just heads off, not looking back. The instructor is left sitting in the water, soaked and by himself. Somewhere else, the guy in the hoodie spots a spirit and realizes he's finally shown up. The spirit tries to let him know that the protagonist isn't easy to figure out and actually has a lot more strength than he realizes. The older guy watched what the young man just did and couldn't help but admit to himself that pulling off something like that would be tough for him, even with all his experience. The young man stands there, looking pretty sure of himself, almost like he believes he's unbeatable. The spirit, though, doesn't seem convinced. It watches him, kind of skeptical, like it's waiting to see if he's really as tough as he says. He lets them know he's actually from a different time, so he's got knowledge about stuff nobody else around him does. He remembers being just a regular student somewhere else before ending up in this new world. After a truck accident, he suddenly found himself in a completely different world, one where people train to become stronger and chased after power. He ended up as a barely noticed young master in the family and started his new life from there. The next day rolls around, and everyone's getting ready for the placement test. Some guys are flipping through notes like they're cramming for finals, while others just look around, trying to seem chill. You can tell there's a bit of tension in the air, with some students quietly checking their stuff and making sure they're set for whatever's coming. He stumbles and lands straight into a pile of ox manure. As he tries to wipe the mess off, his hand brushes against something hard. Hidden in all that muck, he spots a strange ring. Inside the ring was the spirit of Master Dan. With Master Dan around, he found himself getting tougher and picking up new skills he never thought he could have. He's pretty sure that, with his main character mindset, nothing's going to get in his way. The guy tells everyone that the main character is going to lose to him, no matter what. Even though they don't really have any beef with each other, he's made up his mind that this is how things are going to go down. Somewhere else, the young master suddenly sneezes. He looks confused for a second, trying to figure out what just happened and why he sneezed out of the blue. He barely thinks about it and just heads out, since everything in the room looks neat and sorted. He steps out of the room, making sure to close the door quietly behind him so the girl sleeping inside doesn't wake up. He heads out, quietly closing the door behind him. She's left alone in the room, finally able to relax without anyone around. The young guy in the hoodie heads back to his room and notices the door is already open. Right away, he gets a weird feeling about it. He steps inside, looking around, and it's clear someone else has been there while he was gone. Not sure what's up, he walks over to the bed. That's when he spots a girl with white hair, fast asleep on his bed. He just stands there, not expecting to see her. He stands there, staring, totally thrown off by the sight in front of him. His mind races, trying to figure out how a cultivator managed to end up in his room. He turns red, caught off guard by what just happened. He stands there, awkward and unsure what to do next, hoping nobody else noticed how flustered he is. He sits quietly, watching her sleep. In that moment, it hits him. She's the kind of girl everyone talks about online, the one everyone seems to admire. She's like the dream girl for this generation, and he can't help but notice how peaceful she looks right now. He reminds himself that now isn't the right moment to start crushing on someone, so he pushes those thoughts aside and tries to pay attention to what's happening around him. The next day rolls around, and everyone's back together, getting ready for the placement test. The instructor lets everyone know that the test is going to be a doubles battle. It's meant to see how well they can fight as a team. He heads over to where the other students are gathered, getting ready for whatever's coming next. The white-haired girl shoots him a cold, annoyed stare. You can tell she's serious about beating him. From across the street, the guy in the hoodie kept his eyes on him. He had this crooked grin, like he already knew what he wanted to do next. There was something about the way he stood there, just watching, waiting, and clearly up to something. He heads over to a cabinet, grabs a potion, and brings it back to help the girl get better. He sees a girl cleaning up his room and just hanging out on his bed, and he can't help but think there's only one reason for that. He looked pretty sure of himself, thinking there was no way she wasn't into him. The idea made him feel fired up inside, like he'd just scored a win. He thinks back to his old life, when he used to read comics and noticed how the heroines always ended up falling for someone. He starts thinking the white-haired girl might be the one he's meant to meet. Curious and a little nervous, he walks over to her. He notices she's still asleep and starts to wonder what's making her sleep in so late. The spirit lets him know that her mind got messed up, and that's why she is able to wake up. The young man figured she must have used up all her energy cleaning his room, and that's probably why she ended up passing out. He remembers remembers picking up first aid skills before, so he gets to work helping her out. He drops to his knees next to her and gets ready to help her breathe, hoping it'll bring her back. The girl's eyes flutter open, confused about where she is and what's going on. As she comes to, she notices the guy leaning over her, his face looking kind of weird. She catches him right as he's about to kiss her, realizing he's right above her. Out of nowhere, the main guy hears a loud boom. He spins around fast, trying to figure out what's going on. She shoves him back with a hard kick, making it clear she wants him gone and doesn't want to see his face ever again. He can't figure out why she went after him like that when it's obvious she likes him. He realized the women in that world just weren't that outgoing, and maybe he moved a little too quickly. The spirit wanted to know why he was so confident that she liked him, instead of just thinking she might have ended up in the wrong room by accident. He grins, looking like he totally believes he's meant to win at life. Deep down, he just knows he's the main character of his own story. Outside, the girl stands there, staring at the building behind her. She tries to remember how she woke up in a bed that wasn't hers, but her mind is a blur. Nothing really makes sense, and she's left scratching her head, trying to piece it all together. The next day rolls around, and all the students are hanging out together, waiting for the placement test to start. She can kind of remember facing off with the main guy yesterday, but the memory is a bit blurry, and she can't really piece together what happened. All of a sudden, it all comes back to her. She realizes who he really is, a dangerous demonic cultivator. Her mind races as the pieces fall into place. She finds out what he's been doing and can't believe it. The idea of him using bodies for his own gain just hits her hard. She pulls back, unsettled by what she's just learned, and it's clear she wants nothing to do with it. She hadn't seen this coming at all. Finding out something this huge hit her hard, and it started to sink in just how much trouble she might be in now. She grinned, looking confident, already set on digging up evidence that he was a demonic cultivator. She yells his name out into the dark, her voice cutting through the quiet. Deep down, she's fired up and determined to make him pay for what he did. No matter what, she's not letting this go. All the other students catch the yelling and look over, trying to figure out what just went down between those two. The next day rolls around, and everyone shows up at the performance stage, ready for the next challenge. Some guys are trying to act cool, but you can tell most of them are a little tense, not sure what's coming next. The place is buzzing with energy, and everyone's eyes are fixed on the front, waiting for someone to explain what they're supposed to do this time. The guys start getting annoyed about how long they've been waiting. Some of them check the time on their phones, others just look around, trying to figure out why no teacher has arrived. Everyone seems restless, not sure what's going on. The main guy is in the gym, pushing himself with some seriously heavy weights. Even though he's already lifting way more than most people could handle, he's thinking about how he still needs to work harder. He doesn't look satisfied and seems totally focused on getting even stronger. The fox helps him chill out, letting him know he's strong enough to make it into the top class. The white-haired girl shot him a sharp look. She clearly wasn't impressed by the way he acted, thinking he was just showing off way too much. The other students noticed how excited she looked when she saw him. They started to wonder what was going on between them and if something had happened. The chubby guy grinned, knowing that nobody else hanging around actually understood what was really going on between the two of them. He thinks their relationship is stronger than they realize, and he gets ready to open up about everything. Before he could even get a word out, the guy in the hood stepped in close and pressed a sword right up to his neck. The guy warns the other not to talk badly about the girl. The chubby dude, clearly scared after being threatened, quickly backs down and agrees. The young man pushes him down and walks off, leaving the chubby guy on the ground, looking scared and not sure what just happened. The others look at him, trying to figure out why he's suddenly so upset. After a moment, they decide he probably just really likes her. The young guy believes she's the one he's meant to be with, and doesn't even consider getting caught up with someone who doesn't stand out. Out of nowhere, one of the instructors raised his voice, calling everyone to settle down and focus. All the students turned around when they noticed the three instructors on stage. The instructors looked ready to kick off the test, and everyone in the room started to focus, knowing things were about to get serious. They jumped down onto the stage, getting ready to explain what everyone needs to do next. The teachers let everyone know that the third test was starting soon. Instantly, all the students snapped to attention, focused on what was coming next. The instructor lets everyone know that this time, things are getting real. No rules, no limits, just straight-up combat. Everyone starts to realize they're about to find out what they're really made of. The dean, sporting a fresh wig, keeps a close eye on everything, making sure to check out how things are going for himself. The main guy spots the headmaster's fresh wig right away. Before he can react, the fox shoots him a look, basically telling him to keep it down if he doesn't want to get in trouble. The instructor, wearing bright clothes that definitely stand out, reaches over and hits a button. Suddenly, this weird-looking machine pops up right in the center of the stage, grabbing everyone's attention. He lets everyone know they have to pick their combat numbers, which will decide who they're up against. The students form a line, waiting for their turn. Each person steps up, reaches into the machine, and pulls out a number. The main guy steps forward, ready to grab his number and see who he's up against. He slides his hand into the machine, grabbing the paper he chose. Right away, he notices something weird happening to it. The instructor, who clearly isn't a fan of his, signals for things to begin. Right then, a sharp blade slides out from the machine, making the whole situation way more intense. The blade slices right through the paper he's holding. That's when he notices there's something seriously off about the drawing. He glances down at the paper and realizes the number's totally wrecked. There's no way to make out what it was supposed to be. He spins around and spots the instructor laughing, looking kind of sneaky. That's when it hits him. He just got set up. Out of nowhere, he notices something off and glances over at the machine to figure out what's going on. He glances down at the paper in his hand, spots the number 38, and just stands there, confused about what it means. The instructor keeps laughing, looking pretty pleased with himself, like everything's going exactly how he wanted. The scene shifts over to the combat arena. The main guy stands there, getting ready for his match. He checks out his opponent across the ring, sizing him up and trying to keep his nerves in check. The air feels tense, and he can hear the crowd buzzing in the background. He takes a deep breath, focusing on what he has to do next. The instructor couldn't help but look pretty pleased with himself. He had set things up so the main guy ended up picking exactly the number the instructor had in mind. You could tell he was enjoying that small win, probably thinking he was a step ahead in this game. He thinks about how he didn't train so hard just to mess up now, and he's sure his plan is going to work. The guy with the hood pulled up stood apart from the main character. He told everyone he wasn't with them, and the instructor found it pretty funny, letting out a laugh. He points out that the guy's got some strength, but it wasn't intentional that they ended up in different groups. He decided it'd be smarter to have someone else check out what the main guy could do before going up against him himself. The main guy spots a shadow on the ground. He can't quite tell who it is, but he starts thinking about who he's about to face in the fight. There's this tension in the air, and he's trying to size up what's coming next. He turns around and spots a huge, ripped guy blocking his way. The man just stands there, staring down at him with a cold, unfriendly glare. The man sizes him up, clearly not impressed. He just stands there, acting all confident, as if he's already decided this fight isn't worth his time. It's obvious he doesn't see much of a challenge here and thinks the other guy should just give up before things even start. The chubby guy spots the man and can't believe who his friend is up against for the first match. He explains that the guy is a well-known assassin in the martial world, and most people are scared of him. The man had seen how the protagonist did in earlier tests, and honestly, he wasn't impressed. He looks down on the guy, thinking he's just some lucky dude with a little muscle, but no real talent. Deep down, he can't stand how unskilled he is. He acts like he's mastered, showing off and making it clear he thinks he can finish the fight in one move. The fox girl clenched her fists, her eyes narrowing as she watched what was happening. She couldn't stand how things were going, and it was obvious she was about to jump in and do something about it. The man steps forward, looking right at her. He doesn't bother hiding that he's ready for a fight. Instead of going after the younger guy, he makes it clear he wants to take her on himself. The air gets tense, like everyone's waiting to see what she'll do next. All the other students gather around, curious to see what's about to happen. They watch closely, wondering if the protagonist can actually pull it off this time. Out of nowhere, energy bursts out from the main guy, spreading fast and knocking everyone nearby off their feet. The fox gives him a hard time for being so polite to the other guy. Still, he stands by what he said, not backing down from his own words. The guy looks at them, totally sure of himself. He can tell them apart, no problem. He stands there, expecting the other person to get down on their knees and apologize. The main guy gets ready to respond, locking eyes with the man in front of him. His face shows he means business, focused, not messing around. Even though he's not the strongest, he's got his own reasons to keep pushing forward. No matter how tough things get, he's not planning to back down anytime soon. The man stares at him, his eyes burning with anger. He looks ready to fight, not backing down for a second. The older guy gave the younger one a look that said he should get ready to lose in the arena, then started to walk away. The fox points out how brave the guy is, and he starts to blush, not really sure how to handle the attention. The assassin heads over to meet up with the instructor and the guy wearing a hood. They all gather in a quiet spot, getting ready to talk about what they're going to do next. The room feels tense, like everyone knows how important this moment is. Each of them pays close attention, trying to figure out their roles and what comes next in the plan. He makes it clear that if he's going to take the guy out, he wants a spot in the top class. The instructor nods, basically promising he'll get what he wants. He decided he was going to show the boy just how strong he really was. He was sure he could beat him and prove his point, no matter what it took. The instructor looks over at the main guy, clearly hoping he makes it past the first round. He can't help but let out a sly laugh, probably thinking it's going to be tough for him. He let everyone know the drawing was finished, and then called up the first freshman to step into the combat arena. The girl with white hair gets called up first, and everyone's attention is on her. People are pumped to watch what she can do in the fight. Her opponent turns out to be the same white-haired guy who keeps asking her to train together. The other students can't believe what he just did. Annoyed and pretty mad, they start yelling at him, telling him to get off the stage. The guys started tossing food his way, but he was quick and managed to dodge every bit of it. Instead, all the food ended up splattering right on the instructor, who definitely didn't see that coming. The guy tries to dodge, but somehow the attacks still land on him. He gets really mad about how unfair everything feels. The guy in the hoodie stands off to the side, watching everything go down. He keeps an eye on the other dude, making a silent note to remember his name, especially since this guy seems to be interested in his girl. The instructor watched them hanging out, surprised at how fast they'd become friends. The young guy just shrugged, thinking it must be something about the main character's vibe that drew people in. The dean steps up and tells everyone to stop messing around. He lets them know the first match of the tournament is about to begin. The students got ready for the fight, each one trying to look tough even though some of them were pretty nervous. Their instructor, on the other hand, looked like he just survived a food fight, his clothes stained with food and streaks of dirt all over him. The white-haired girl gets ready to go all in, standing tall in front of her opponent. She looks focused, like she's about to give it everything she's got. The white-haired guy stands tall, looking pretty confident as he gets ready for the fight ahead. He knows he's strong, and it shows in the way he carries himself, almost like he's been waiting for this moment. With a quick stretch and a steady look, he's all set for whatever's coming his way. He turns to face her, and it's obvious this is what he'd hoped for all along. He thinks she has no clue how strong the sect really is, and decides it's time to prove what he can actually do. He gets ready to pull off his secret move, the ghostly Iron Mountain Fall. He moves fast, making a bunch of shadow clones pop up all around the arena. Now the girl's looking around, trying to figure out which one is the real him. The chubby guy watches closely, clearly impressed. He notices how fast the moves are and realizes that's how the clones are popping up. He knows she has to pick out his real body if she wants any chance of beating him. Without that, she doesn't stand a chance. The girl stands in front of him, her face set and focused. She gets ready, bracing herself for whatever's about to happen next. She spots the clones standing around with their legs spread out weirdly. Watching them, she suddenly comes up with a plan. She kicks him where it really hurts, and he yells out in pain. That's when everyone realizes which one was actually him. He thinks what she did was seriously messed up, hitting him where it hurt most. She just stares back at him, her eyes cold and full of hate. He admits he's messed with people before, so he pretty much knew something like this could happen to him. The girl couldn't believe how bold he was. She just stared at him, not sure why he thought acting like that was something to brag about. She gets ready to go for another attack. He notices that she ignored his offer to make peace, so he decides it's time to get serious. He's not planning to hold back at all. In the combat arena, he's set on using everything he's got to take her down. He fires off a ball of energy straight at her, getting ready to finish things once and for all. He circles around her, moving fast, and makes even more shadow clones. Now she can't tell which one is really him. The main guy starts thinking about why he doesn't just toss the chief spear straight at her to go on the offensive. The chubby guy points out that when someone gets stronger as a cultivator, their spit can fly a lot farther. He suddenly understands just how strong his dad and the fox really are. The realization hits him, and he can't help but be surprised. The shadow clones surrounded her, firing energy spheres from every direction. She grabs the energy sphere and looks at him, kind of unimpressed, like she's expecting more. He decides it's time to stop pretending and gets ready for the next fight, more focused than before. She lets him know she's not someone to mess with, and gets ready for whatever's coming next in the fight. He tries to catch her off guard from behind, but she reacts fast and slips out of the way before he can land a hit. He shows off, acting like he's totally got the Q-sphere under control. He's sure of himself and doesn't think she stands a chance against him. He throws the sphere straight at her, but she just grabs it out of the air like it's nothing. She catches the attack way easier than she expected, then gives him a cold, annoyed look. He throws more spheres her way, but she moves fast, weaving through every attack without breaking a sweat. On the battlefield, she stays sharp and light on her feet, never letting him catch her off guard. He leaps up, aiming for an attack from above, but she's already set to block whatever he throws at her. She kicks him hard, and the hit is so strong that he goes flying backward. The instructors notice how easily she handles spiritual energy. They can't help but be impressed, watching her pull off moves that usually take way more practice. The chubby guy starts talking about this secret move from the He-One sect. He says it's all about controlling energy, like some hidden skill you don't hear about every day. The white-haired girl gets ready for whatever's coming next. She stands her ground, looking straight at him, not backing down even a little. She's really mad that she has to draw her sword just because of this annoying guy. She charges up a strong attack and aims it right at him, getting ready to finish the fight. He throws up a barrier of energy to shield himself, but she just slices right through it with her sword like it's nothing. Right in the middle of the fight, his pants split. That awkward moment hits him hard, and he can't help but feel embarrassed as everyone notices. He can't believe how easily she broke his energy sphere. The story shifts over to the main guy. He's watching the fight, eyes glued to what's happening. He's clearly interested, leaning in a bit, trying to catch every move. There's a spark of curiosity there. You can tell he wants to see how things play out. He watches the two fighters closely, paying attention to how they move and what they do, hoping to pick up some new skills from them. The young guy drops to the ground, totally worn out. He just couldn't keep up, and the white-haired girl comes out on top, taking the first win of the tournament. He couldn't believe what just happened. Somehow he'd managed to control energy, and it left him seriously confused. He kept replaying the moment in his head, trying to figure out how he pulled it off. The instructor steps forward and says the match is over and the girl's the winner. Right away, the crowd starts cheering for her. Everyone's clapping, and some people are even taking quick videos with their phones. She looks around, catching her breath, while her friends give her proud smiles from the sidelines. The energy in the room feels electric, and it's clear everyone's impressed by how she pulled it off. She shoots the beaten guy a cold stare, clearly not impressed, then turns her back and walks out of the arena like she's got better things to do. The main character starts to question if fights between cultivators are always like this. Watching everything unfold, he can't help but think about what real battles in this world are actually like. Out of nowhere, a huge chicken leg comes flying through the air and knocks a girl off her feet. She hits the ground hard, totally caught off guard by what just happened. The protagonist turned around and spotted a girl with pink hair. She was looking at him like he just did something pretty cool. Everyone knew the white-haired girl as the top cultivator among the younger crowd. She'd built up a reputation that nobody could ignore, and people around her always seemed impressed, or maybe a bit jealous, whenever her name came up. The white-haired girl listens as everyone talks about how strong the other girl is. Deep down, she hopes that maybe, someday, she could be just as tough. The guy can't help but notice how tall the girl is, and it really catches his attention. Meanwhile, the fox hanging around him isn't too happy about it and looks a bit annoyed. She spun around fast, and her chest accidentally bumped right into the fox's face. The fox just froze, looking totally surprised by what happened. The fox girl catches on that the guy actually enjoys it. Her face shifts, showing a look he can't quite read, like she's surprised but also thinking hard about what just happened. The girl with pink hair stares at the chicken leg, and it's obvious she's really hungry. She offers him some food, and just the sight of it makes his stomach rumble. He can't help but stare, suddenly realizing how hungry he actually is. He's been practicing non-stop since yesterday, and now he's starving from putting in all that work. The fox girl stands there, unsure of what to do next. She's surprised that someone she barely knows seems to get him more than she does. The main guy picks up the chicken leg and starts eating, not really caring who's watching. The fox just stares, clearly thrown off by what it's seeing. The instructor points for someone to take the young guy who just lost out of the ring. It's clear he's done for now, and the focus shifts fast. Everyone starts getting ready for the next match in the tournament. The main guy grabs some food, trying to chill out a bit. While he eats, he looks over at the girl with pink hair, the one who helped him earlier. He's curious about her, so he tries to find out what her name is. She tells them her name is, and she's been at the academy since last year. The fox wanted to know if the girl showed up to challenge the new guy, but the girl just shook her head, letting him know that wasn't the case. She lets him know she didn't pass, and now has to retake the placement exam. The main character noticed that she looked pretty calm, almost like nothing could bother her, but she knew what was at stake. If things didn't go her way, she'd be kicked out for good. Even though the pressure was on, she kept her cool, not letting anyone see how much this meant to her. The chubby guy let everyone know that the girl's family was pretty well known. They weren't just anybody. Her family had a big reputation for being skilled alchemists. Everyone knows her family. Wherever they go, people look up to them and treat them with a lot of respect. She figured out a way to blend alchemy with cooking, making food that actually has serious power. He couldn't believe it when he found out what he'd actually eaten. It wasn't just regular meat, but a spirit pill disguised as food. His mind raced, trying to figure out what this meant for him. All he could think about was what might happen next, and he started stressing about the weird things he might feel after eating something so strange. He feels embarrassed about eating her meat, but she just shrugs it off like it's no big deal. She notices he hasn't eaten and doesn't like seeing anyone go without food. She looks at him and gives a small, kind smile. The guy notices how nice she is, and it makes him smile a bit. Meanwhile, the fox watches them and starts to get a little annoyed, not really liking the attention she's giving someone else. He thinks she's pretty awesome, almost like she's on another level. The fox, though, acts like it's nothing special and doesn't want anyone making a big deal out of it. Out of nowhere, the girl with white hair walked up, and everyone stepped aside to let her through. The girl with pink hair walked up to her, eyes wide and excited, hoping to get an autograph. She watches her, clearly impressed by how strong and skilled she is. You can tell she really respects her. The girl with white hair turns down the autograph and gives her a heads up about choosing friends wisely. The guys in the group stare at the scene, totally confused by how the girl is acting. None of them can figure out what's going on with her. She walks right up to him, her eyes narrowed, making it clear she isn't messing around. The look on her face says she's not letting this go until she gets some answers. The other students look around, curious about what just went down and whether the chubby guy was actually telling the truth. The instructor called out the next match, and it was the protagonist's turn to step into the combat arena. The white-haired girl locks eyes with him and doesn't back down, her stance shifting like she's ready to throw down at any second. The girl wanted to know if he was actually close with the other girl. He just told her that he only knew her, nothing more. She really wants to meet the white-haired girl, hoping she can learn how to get as strong as her. She looks at him, clearly wanting him to help make that introduction happen. Out of nowhere, the instructor calls out the pink-haired girl's name, making her jump a little. She wasn't ready for it and gets caught off guard when everyone turns to look at her. She realizes she missed what was said and quickly says sorry, then gets ready for her match in the placement tournament. She reminded him to remember the other girl, and he nodded, saying he'd give it a shot. The fox thinks the girl is weird and decides it's better to stay away from her. He thinks she's probably a good person. From what he's seen, she really cares about other people, and that's not something you see in someone who's bad. The instructor let her know this was her final shot at passing. She nodded, fully aware of what was at stake. She stands still for a moment, breathing in and out, getting her head ready for what's about to happen. This fight isn't just another match. It's the one that could decide if she stays at the academy or not. Every muscle in her body tenses as she steps forward, focused and determined, knowing what's on the line. She lets him know that if she doesn't win at least one match, she won't get another shot at the year and could get kicked out of school. She really doesn't want to go back to her old life, so she locks in on the fight, pushing everything else out of her mind. Number 36 gets called up, and a young guy with his hood pulled low steps onto the stage. He shoots a glare at the girl with pink hair, his own grin looking a little dangerous. He's already getting ready to fight. She looks at him, her eyes wide, clearly confused by what's going on. He pulls down his hood, showing his face. The girl spots him and her eyes go wide. She totally wasn't expecting to see him here. He lets everyone know he's almost there, looking totally sure of himself while getting ready for the fight. Both guys stand across from each other in the arena, getting ready for the fight that's about to decide everything for them. The dean stood beside the instructor, both of them watching the scene unfold. They couldn't help but wonder how the girl from the family had gotten herself into that situation. The instructor lets everyone know that she barely passed any of the assessment tests last year. She totally messed up the alchemy test, even though that was supposed to be her thing. The instructor tells her that if she can't win at least one match, she'll have to pack up and head back home. She suddenly remembered that while she was pretty good at making food that could heal people, she didn't actually know how to fight at all. The instructor signals that the match is starting. Both guys step into the arena, standing across from each other, getting ready to see who comes out on top. He quickly moves out of the way, letting them have enough room to go all out and show what they can do. The pink-haired girl gets serious, not willing to back down. She gets ready to fight, looking like she's all in. The guy in the hoodie looked surprised. He hadn't thought he'd end up fighting someone like her, especially since she looked so cute and harmless. He talks a big game about how much he knows and acts like winning the next fight will be a piece of cake for him. He pictures the end of the fight in his head, thinking she'll notice what he did and just run up to him like she can't help herself. Out of nowhere, the girl swings at him and lands a solid punch right on his face. He gets knocked back hard and hits the ground, totally surprised by how strong she is. He stands there smiling to himself, not moving an inch. He can't figure out why he's just standing around instead of jumping into the fight. It's like his body won't listen, and he's stuck just watching, confused by his own reaction. The spirit gave him a serious look, making it clear he shouldn't space out or mess around, especially with the first round coming up. Getting knocked out early would be embarrassing, and the warning hit him hard. He calls himself the main character and thinks there's no way he's going to lose to her. She throws another strong punch at him, but he reacts fast, catching her wrist and stopping her in her tracks. He watches her closely, letting her know with a sharp look that he's not falling for the same trick again. She went for a kick, but he was quick and dodged out of the way. Before she knew it, he grabbed her and tossed her aside with one smooth move. He gets ready for whatever comes next, watching as the girl stands in front of him, her eyes locked on his, totally focused and not backing down. She charges straight at him, getting ready to hit hard with everything she's got. He stands in front of her, looking sure of himself, a steady grin on his face. He gets ready, knowing the fight is about to start. The scene shifts to the main guy, eyes locked on the fight. He's focused, taking in every move, picking up tips from both fighters. He's pretty confident about his skills, acting like nobody could ever land a punch on him in a regular fight. It's almost like he wants everyone to know just how good he is. The main guy gets hyped up, cheering on the girl. Meanwhile, the fox notices this and isn't too happy about it, clearly not liking that his support is going to someone else. The girl with pink hair pauses for a second, taking a slow breath. She knows she's about to pull off something big, something she's kept hidden. With everyone watching, she gets ready to use a technique she's never shown before, one that could change everything. She pulls out a massive chicken leg, looking like she means business. Losing isn't even on her mind right now, now, she's clearly in it to win. She stuffs the whole chicken leg into her mouth without hesitation. The guy just stares, not really sure what to think about what he's seeing. It's definitely not what he expected. The chubby guy notices that she's eating some kind of spiritual food, and it's making her stronger for the fight. He starts to worry about what might happen if she takes that many pills at once, especially since they're the real deal. He watches her bounce around, so full of energy that he half expects her to burst at any second. Out of nowhere, a bright light bursts from her, catching the guy off guard. Instinctively, he throws his arms up to block the blast, hoping it won't hit him head-on. Her clothes get torn up by the blast, and she suddenly looks a lot tougher and more intense than before. The main guy and the fox freeze, eyes wide, both trying to figure out if what just happened was someone blowing up, or if it was just their clothes flying everywhere. The young guy in the hoodie suddenly gets a nosebleed, but instead of freaking out, he just laughs at what he saw. He thinks that no matter how hard she tries at the last second, she's not going to win against him. She knows it probably won't work, but she thinks she has to give it a shot anyway. Bracing herself, she gets ready to make her move. She goes for a strong kick, aiming right at him, but he moves out of the way fast and barely breaks a sweat as he tosses her aside. The spirit lets him know she's gotten way stronger, way past the chi refinement level. She lets everyone know things aren't finished yet, and gets ready to launch an attack that looks way stronger than before. He gets ready for the fight, locking in and focusing up. He knows it's about to get real, so he starts preparing himself, determined to give it his all. Both guys stand across from each other in the arena, getting ready for the last fight. This match will settle who comes out on top. The scene shifts to the main guy, watching the fight closely. He studies every move, picking up tips from both fighters as he tries to figure out what works and what doesn't. He couldn't believe it when he saw her block the attack so easily. The way she moved, fast and confident, totally caught him off guard. He didn't expect her to be that strong, and now he was starting to realize he might have underestimated her. She slams her foot into him, landing a solid kick that knocks him off his feet and sends him flying backward. The hit packs enough power to throw him across the room, leaving everyone watching wide-eyed. The main guy notices how strong she is and can't help but be impressed. Still, the fox points out that she's starting to overdo it, hinting that she might be reaching her breaking point. She lets him know she can't keep this up for long. If things stay this tough, she'll run out of energy in just a few minutes. The pink-haired girl stood there, catching her breath, her chest rising and falling fast. Sweat clung to her forehead as she glanced around, trying to figure out if she'd actually pulled off the win. She glances down at the guy she just took down, surprised at how quick it all went. It almost doesn't feel real to her that it was this easy. The instructor keeps glancing at the young guy, his face tense with concern. The dean notices and quietly reassures him, making it clear that everything's under control. The instructor tries to relax, trusting that the dean's got it covered. The guy lets everyone know the fight isn't finished yet. The hooded kid is still standing. He hasn't lost. Out of nowhere, the guy stands up, looking surprised that a local girl just pushed him. He didn't see that coming at all. He knows it's time to stop holding back and really prove what he can do if he wants to end this fight for good. He stands up, turning to face the girl. His eyes are locked in, focused, and steady. He looks ready, like he's about to step into a big game or a challenge that really matters. This time, he's decided not to go easy. He's ready to throw everything he's got into beating her. He moves at her fast, way faster than she expected. She braces herself, ready for whatever's coming next. She watches him move way faster than she expected, almost like she's seeing things. It's hard for her to wrap her head around how quick he actually is. He comes at her from above, moving fast. The protagonist quickly notices what's about to happen and tries to warn her before the hit lands. She turns around, getting ready to defend herself, but he moves quicker than she expects and lands a solid hit right on her arm. She takes a hard hit and gets knocked off her feet, landing on the ground. She's out of energy and can't get back up to keep going. He shoots her a smug grin, looking pretty pleased with himself. You can tell he's ready to go again, not holding back any of that mean energy as he gears up for whatever's next. He watches everything happening in front of him and just can't figure out why the guy is being so harsh. The scene shifts over to the instructor. He looks pretty pleased with how the fight just turned out in the arena. He forms a blue fire lotus in his hand, grinning as he sends it flying toward her. The blast slammed right into her and sent her flying, the force of the explosion knocking her way back. As the explosion settles, her outline stands clear in the chaos. The young guy watches, a slight grin on his face. He looks pretty pleased with how things turned out. She cries out from the pain as the hit knocks her down. Lying on the ground, she can't move, completely worn out. Both the protagonist and the fox freeze for a second, taken aback by how strong the attack is. Their attention shoots straight to the girl, concern clear on their faces as they try to figure out if she's okay. Her clothes clothes are ripped, and she looks like she's hurting from the fight. The fox quickly puts its paws over the protagonist's eyes, making sure he can't see what's happening in front of them. The instructors notice the young guy showing off the blue lotus flame. They definitely didn't expect that, and it catches their attention right away. They can't help but be impressed. Most people don't have something like that, especially someone his age. The girl tries to catch her breath, still trying to figure out what just happened to her after getting hit so hard. He walks up to her, wanting to know if she's finally ready to give up after all that's gone down. She locks eyes with him, her face set and focused. She gets ready to make her next move, not backing down for a second. She grabs a bottle, drinks it all in one go, and starts to feel her energy coming back. The liquid bursts into flames around her, but instead of backing down, she gets ready to strike again, looking even stronger than before. He stares, completely stunned, not sure how she managed to bounce back like that. She charges at him, throwing punch after punch, each one landing hard. She doesn't hold back. Every hit comes with everything she's got, knocking into him straight on. He tries to block her attacks, but she's way quicker, landing hit after hit before he can even react. She goes after him hard, not letting up for a second. He barely has time to react as she keeps landing hit after hit, giving him no room to fight back. The instructors stared at the girl, not sure what to think. None of them had seen anything like this before. They couldn't look away, completely caught off guard by what was happening right in front of them. He spots her aura looking way stronger than before, and starts to think she might have just leveled up. The scene shifts over to the girl. Something's different about her now, like she just unlocked a new strength inside herself. The fox lets him know she's taking even more pills than before, trying to go all out so she can win. Right then, the girl is actually using up her own energy just to keep fighting. The pink-haired girl doesn't let up. She's determined not to back down, throwing herself into the fight with everything she's got. Each move is stronger than the last, like she's got something to prove and isn't about to quit anytime soon. He blocks her attacks and starts to notice how determined she is, not backing down no matter what. He decides it's time to go all out, getting ready to launch his strongest move yet. He hits her with a blast shaped like a blue lotus, sending her flying back from the impact. The explosion catches her completely off guard and knocks her backward before she can even react. She gets slammed by the attack and drops to the ground, totally wiped out and unable to fight back. He gets ready to go in for another hit, but just then, the instructor steps in and calls off the fight. He thinks the fight's getting out of hand and might end badly, so he steps in and tells everyone to stop right away. He charges at her, spinning into a blue whirlwind shaped like a lotus. Energy swirls around, locking her inside a twisting vortex she can't break out of. The instructor calls the end of the match, but he keeps going, still throwing punches like he didn't even hear it. He decides it's over, and he's not backing down. He's going to keep pushing until she finally gives in and stops trying to fight back. She starts to think it might actually be the end, her mind racing with all the things that could go wrong next. She braces herself, not sure what's coming, but pretty sure it won't be good. Out of nowhere, memories from before came rushing back to her. She couldn't help but think about those times when her family got mad at her. Her dad wasn't happy at all. He thought she was wasting her time messing around with random recipes when she should been focused on alchemy, like everyone expected. To him, it felt like she was letting the family down. She explains that her cooking works kind of like medicine, and she just doesn't get why she isn't allowed to use it. Her dad smacked her and told her that cooking made their family look bad. He makes up his mind to send her off to the academy. If she can't figure things out there, the family's plan is to find someone for her to marry. He tells her she's not wanted and sends her out of the house, making it clear she shouldn't come back. She tightens her fist, determined to show everyone that her cooking can stack up against those pills. She thinks back to her dream, wanting people to see cooking differently, even when things feel hopeless. In the end, she starts to question if things will ever actually get better, and if she'll ever get the chance to show what she's really made of. Out of nowhere, the main guy shows up right in front of her, stepping in just as the hooded kid tries to go after her. He blocks the attack without hesitating, putting himself between her and the danger. He steps in and blocks the attack, making it clear that she doesn't deserve to get hurt. He stands in front of her, blocking the way. He makes it clear that anyone trying to mess with her will have to deal with him first. He doesn't back down, practically daring the other guy to try something. Cannon reaches for his weapon, but he quickly notices that the kid is actually way stronger than he expected. The guy looks at the main character with this weird stare, kind of annoyed, but at the same time, you can tell he actually respects him for having guts. The instructor steps in and stops the fight, making it clear that the match is done. He signals for everyone to clear out of the arena, so the crowd starts to shuffle out, leaving the place quieter than before. The referee raised his hand and named the hooded guy as the winner. Across the ring, the girl's face dropped. She stared at the ground, barely moving, looking like all her energy had just disappeared. He shoots the protagonist a cocky grin, looking pretty pleased with himself after winning the arena match. He lets the kid know that if he doesn't win his next game, there won't be a chance for them to go up against each other. He locks eyes with the other guy for a second, determined to make it through the first round. Not backing down, he gives him a hard look, ready to prove himself. The fox gets annoyed by how chill the guy is acting. He thinks the young man was just trying to mess with him or scare him on purpose. The pink-haired girl walks over, coughing quietly. It's pretty clear she's hurt and not doing well. He checks to see if she's all right, and she gives him a grateful nod, clearly relieved he stepped in to help when things got rough. She thinks about how she tried her hardest in the fight but still couldn't win a single round. The loss sticks with her, and she can't help but feel frustrated. The next match is about to start, and the main guy gets ready for his turn. He looks at his opponent, sizing him up, and takes a deep breath, trying to steady himself before stepping forward. The atmosphere feels tense, and everyone seems to be waiting to see what'll happen next. The white-haired girl shoots him a cold stare, clearly not impressed. She looks dead set on coming out on top. A young guy in a hoodie stands off in the distance, grinning to himself. He's got something up his sleeve, clearly thinking about what he's going to do next. She starts crying, her head down, embarrassed that she lost. Out of nowhere, she gets sick and starts throwing up. The main guy sees this happen and gets really concerned about her, wondering if she's okay. He lets them know she's okay, and the fox gets ready to grab some healing pills to help her out. She tells him she ate way too much and ended up getting sick, but the fox doesn't buy it. He stares at the mess, thinking it looks like blood, not just what you'd expect if someone ate too much. The main guy notices she looks tired, so he steps in and helps her get comfortable. She nods at him, looking grateful for the gesture. The instructor spots him heading off with the girl who has pink hair and wants to know what he's up to. He steps forward, letting everyone know it's his time to take on the challenge. The main guy gets ready, bracing himself for whatever fight is about to happen next. He lets everyone know that his opponent is a well-known assassin, gives him a cold, annoyed look, making it clear he doesn't think much of him. He motions for the fox to help the girl leave the stage, and even though the fox isn't thrilled about it, she goes along with his request. She couldn't figure out why it was her job to look after that clueless woman, but she still made sure to get her somewhere safe. The instructor steps forward, letting the two guys know it's time to get ready. The whole arena goes quiet, everyone watching and waiting to see what'll happen next. The main guy stands across from his rival in the arena. Both of them look serious, getting themselves hyped up for the last fight. The crowd around them goes quiet, waiting to see who's going to come out on top. The guy just stood there, grinning like he owned the place, making it clear that the other dude had just blown his final shot at making it out of this mess. He stands there quietly, staring his opponent down. His hands clench and his breath slows as he gets ready. There's no backing out now. The air feels heavy, and everyone can sense that things are about to get real. Once the instructor gave the signal, the assassin moved in fast, aiming straight for the young guy. He swings his massive weapon straight at the main guy, but the hero's already bracing himself, ready to block the hit. He decides that if things are going to go this way, he'll have to step in and deal with him himself. His eyes narrow, and he shoots a cold, nasty glare right at him. There's no doubt he means business. The girls watched the main guy head into the fight, their faces tense. None of them could relax. They kept glancing at each other, trying to figure out if he'd make it through or get hurt. Even though they tried to act calm, everyone could tell they were nervous about what might happen to him. The fox stays calm and reassures everyone. She knows just how tough her brother is, and she's confident that no attack is going to bring him down. He stands across from his opponent, totally sure of himself, and ready for whatever fight is about to go down. The main guy watches the other dude pull off some unexpected move. He can't help but stare, curious about what just happened and trying to figure out what it means. The assassin stops for a second and takes a slow, steady breath. He looks focused, like he's getting ready to pull off something big, something he's been saving for just the right moment. Everyone watching can tell he's about to use a move that hardly anyone knows about, and it's clear it packs a serious punch. In the middle of the combat arena, he lets out a surge of dark energy. The air around him gets heavy, and everyone can feel the tension as he yells at the top of his lungs, showing just how fired up he is. A burst of golden light fills the place. The main guy stands there, eyes locked on everything that's happening, not missing a single detail. He slams his foot down hard, getting ready for the last move. His face shows how focused he is. Nothing's going to stop him now. He shows off his secret move, the iron pillar dance, and suddenly stands in a pose that looks totally weird. The main guy suddenly feels blood trickle from his nose as he stares at what's happening in front of him. He can't believe what he's seeing. It's almost too much for his brain to process. Most of the other students start looking away, their faces twisting up in disgust. Some of them cover their mouths, trying not to get sick from what they're seeing. The chubby guy explains that whenever someone sees him fight, they never manage to get back up after. The instructor, always dressed in bright colors and impossible to miss, didn't look impressed at all. He watched the flashy move and just shook his head, clearly thinking it was embarrassing for the academy. The dean wasn't impressed at all. He called him out, pointing out that the flashy visual effect was nothing but a trick to cover up the real move coming next. He looks over at the other students lying on the ground. Something's definitely off with them, and it's clear to anyone watching that this isn't normal. The main guy starts to feel sick to his stomach and figures out that the attack did something extra he didn't see coming. The assassin leaps up, getting ready to strike while the young guy isn't paying attention. He swings his massive weapon right at the main character, but the guy moves fast, dodging just before it hits. He made it clear the young guy wasn't getting away. Weapon ready, he started chasing him all around the arena, not letting up for a second. He swings hard at the main guy again, but the protagonist stays quick on his feet and dodges every time. He pulls off the iron pillar whirlwind dance, spinning fast and whipping up a wild burst of energy right in the middle of the arena. The other students just can't handle it anymore. The scene is so gross that some of them start getting sick right there, turning away and throwing up. The girl with pink hair catches on to what he's doing and gets ready to stop his move. She lets everyone know that his secret move involves letting out some kind of nasty smoke from his iron pillar. He looked around and realized that poisonous smoke now filled the whole arena. At that moment, it hit him. The other guy had already taken control of the match. The main guy quickly covers his nose and mouth, trying not to breathe in any of the poison floating around. He gets himself ready, knowing there's a fight coming up. The girls all thought sneaking around with poison was pretty low, but he couldn't care less about what they said. He believes that when everything's on the line, whether it's about surviving or losing, it's okay to do whatever it takes to come out on top. The instructor smiled to himself, realizing this was exactly the kind of assassin he'd been looking for. The guy in the hoodie nearly got fooled by the move, not realizing he'd already slipped up. The instructor stepped in, pointing out that he'd actually fallen for the trick without noticing. The assassin came at him swinging a massive weapon, aiming to take him out right there in the arena. It was clear the guy wanted him to suffer, not just lose. The main guy suddenly couldn't move at all. His muscles just stopped working like he was glued in place. At the same time, his head started pounding. The poison was really messing him up. He tries to figure out what's going on and suddenly gets it. He's in serious trouble. The guy across from him just laughed, totally confident, and pointed out that he wasn't even close to using his full strength. He looks at him with cold eyes, making it clear he plans to finish things fast and not drag it out. He throws a strong punch, but the main guy blocks it just in time. He takes the hit, pain shooting through him, but he refuses to back down. Gritting his teeth, he steadies himself, eyes locked on his opponent, already planning his next move. The assassin comes at him, landing punch after punch. The guy tries his best to keep standing, but it's not easy. Every hit sends him stumbling, and he has to fight just to keep from going down. He keeps swinging that iron pillar over and over, not slowing down for a second. The other guy can't even react. There's just no opening for him to fight back. The main guy takes hits from every direction, barely able to keep up. It's clear he's struggling, and things aren't looking good for him right now. The pink-haired girl watches him struggle, clearly surprised at how badly things are going for him. Nearby, the fox gets loud, telling him to quit before it gets any worse. She calls out to the instructors, hoping they'll step in and stop what's happening, but they just stand there and don't do anything. The instructor looks over and decides the fight can't end, yet since the guy can still stand and keep going. He keeps taking hits, but he refuses to back down. Even while getting knocked around, he's already planning his next move, waiting for the right moment to strike back. The white-haired girl stands back, watching everything unfold. She looks let down, not impressed by how strong he is. She looks at him, clearly unimpressed, her eyes cold as she stares him down. It's obvious she expected more from him, and right now, she couldn't hide how let down she feels. The assassin gets ready to finish things, lifting his weapon and aiming straight for the young guy. He lands a heavy punch, and the main guy drops to the ground, looking like he can't get back up this time. The girls freeze, staring at the mess in front of them. None of them expected this, and for a second, nobody knows what to do. It's like the whole room goes quiet while they try to figure out what just went down. The man couldn't believe his eyes when he saw the protagonist still on his feet. He just stood there, staring, totally caught off guard by what he was seeing. The young man grips his weapon tight, using all his strength to block the next attack. He stands his ground, not letting the other guy get past him. He barely had any energy left, but he still tried to fight back. Even though he was weak, he stared at the guy, his eyes full of hate, refusing to give in. The main character knows he's not the strongest guy around, so he puts all his energy into his final punch. He figures that since he doesn't have much power to spare, he's got to give it everything he's got in one go. The guy just laughs it off, acting like that punch was nothing. He stands there, barely flinching, looking as if he didn't even notice it. He throws a strong punch right into the guy's stomach. The man wasn't ready for it at all. He's caught off guard by how hard it lands. He's stunned that such a lame punch actually messed him up this much. Suddenly, energy bursts out from the protagonist, crashing straight into the assassin with full power. He gets hit hard and goes flying, crashing to the ground. Lying there, he's completely wiped out, unable to get back up or keep fighting. The girls and the chubby guy freeze at what they're seeing. None of them expected expected things to go down like this, and for a second, it's like their brains are trying to catch up to what just happened. The man stands up, staring straight at the main character. His eyes are sharp, and you can tell he's mad and not backing down. He swings at the main guy with a strong punch, but the main guy's already getting ready to block it and fight back. The punch lands right on target, and the guy cries out from how much it hurts. He hits the ground, totally worn out, while the main guy pulls through at the last second, barely standing after giving it everything he had. He got to his feet, breathing hard and nursing a few bruises, but there was no doubt he'd come out on top. That last hit had decided everything, and even though he was hurting, he knew he'd won. The assassin just stands there, stunned that he lost. He keeps thinking there's no way he could have been beaten. He wonders how the main guy managed to beat him, especially since he was feeling weak, like maybe someone had slipped him something. He starts thinking the guy might have some kind of secret power that keeps him safe from the poison. Even though he wasn't at full strength, the main guy could still pull off some serious moves. He looked at what he could do, kind of surprised he still had that much power left in him, even when he wasn't at his best. The man just stands there looking at him. His eyes are wide, clearly scared, but there's also something like respect in the way he can't look away. The instructor calls out the protagonist's name as the winner of the round. The crowd erupts in cheers, some people clapping, and others raising their phones to catch the moment. He pumps his fist in the air, glad he made it through the first round. The weight on his shoulders gets a little lighter, and a small grin sneaks onto his face as he takes in the moment. The dean quickly steps in and takes control of the situation, making sure the poison mist that the assassin let loose in the arena gets cleared out right away. The instructor, always dressed in bright colors, steps up and waves his fan through the air. With a few quick moves, he manages to sweep away whatever was lingering, helping everyone breathe easier as the poison's effect fades. Antidotes started pouring down on the students like rain. As it hit them, the poison's grip faded away, and everyone slowly started to feel better. Their bodies start to feel normal again, and their energy slowly comes back. He starts to notice he's actually okay, and figures out the poison barely did anything to him. The pink-haired girl spots his win and can't help but celebrate. She cheers him on, her excitement showing as she jumps up in the arena, totally pumped about his victory. She pulls him into a tight hug, surprised at just how strong he's become, stronger than she ever thought possible. The fox glares at what's going on, clearly not happy about it. Jealousy burns in his eyes as he gets ready to break them up. She stomps her foot, getting ready to go after the girl clinging to him. She shoved her back, clearly not wanting anyone near her brother. The girl walked up to him, acting all casual, just trying to say congrats, but the fox wasn't buying it. He shot her a look, thinking she was after something more, like she was interested in him for more than just a quick chat. The scene shifts to the next match. The main guy gets ready, focusing on the new challenger in front of him. He takes a deep breath, stretching his arms and rolling his shoulders, trying to stay loose but sharp. He knows what's coming, and you can tell he's running through his game plan in his head, keeping his eyes locked on the other side of the ring. The hooded guy couldn't help but grumble to himself. He looked over at the main character, noticing all the attention he was getting from the girls. Deep down, he thought it was unfair. If things went his way, he'd be the one in the center of all that excitement, not just sitting on the sidelines watching someone else get all the luck. The instructor watched the young guy show off his strength, honestly surprised at how strong he was. He hadn't expected this much from him and found himself actually impressed. The guy looked at the hooded kid, kind of sizing him up. He wanted to know if the kid was really up for the challenge. The hooded kid just nodded, calm and confident, like he already knew he could handle whatever was coming his way. He acts like he's never even heard of lows and gets ready to throw down. Out of nowhere, an old man steps in and gives him a paper. It's a fine. If someone set the academy on fire, they'd have to pay a fine of 500 spirit stones. The young guy gets irritated, wondering who this person is and why he's being approached in such a weird way. The instructor blocks his way, making it clear he's the one who handles discipline around here. Turns out he's also the headmaster's uncle. The old man stared straight at the young guy, his face all serious. The young guy just froze, totally caught off guard by how intense the old man seemed. He points at the headmaster, making it clear that the guy is paying close attention to everything going on. The young guy hands over the money for the fine, sorting it out like he's supposed to. But before he can get comfortable, the old man catches up to him again. This time, it's because of what happened with the academy staff. Looks like trouble isn't done with him yet. He's really mad about what's happening, but the instructor steps in, manages to settle him down, and reminds him he still has to pay the fine. He decides he's not letting things slide. He's got it out for the headmaster, the old man, and even the main guy after everything that went down. Getting even is all he can think about now. He shoots the young man a cold, angry look, clearly holding a grudge and already planning to get back at him someday. It suddenly gets colder, and the main guy can't help but notice. He shivers a little, glancing around, trying to figure out what's going on with the temperature. The chubby guy gives him a quick nod, impressed that he took down a 5-star assassin without breaking a sweat. He thinks that, because of this guy, he managed to get his hands on a bunch of useful info. Stuff like that would probably make him some good money if he decided to sell it on the black market. Out of nowhere, the instructor pointed at the chubby guy and let him know he'd be the last one up for the first round. The young man stands there, caught off guard by what just happened. His heart pounds as he realizes it's almost time for the final placement tournament. He takes a deep breath, trying to steady himself, and gets ready for the challenge ahead. The scene shifts over to the arena. The chubby guy gets ready for his match, standing across from his opponent with a steady look. He takes a deep breath, trying to keep his nerves in check as the crowd buzzes around him. The chubby guy stands across from his opponent in the arena, getting himself ready as the fight is about to start. Stands across from him. He's got bright red hair and a face that shows he means business. Looks calm and sure of himself, like he's done this 100 times before. The dean lets everyone know that the young guy is actually his grandson, which catches the flashy instructor off guard. The man explains that the boy just won't pick up the family's skills, no matter what they try. So, as a last resort, he ended up sending the kid off to the academy instead. Everyone in the class started whispering when they realized he was the headmaster's grandson. Some guys checked him out, trying to figure out if he looked anything like the headmaster. A few people nudged their friends, pointing out his style and the way he carried himself. The news spread fast, and suddenly everyone seemed more interested in him than before. The main guy tries to give the chubby dude a heads up, letting him know things could get rough, but the chubby guy just laughs it off, acting like there's no way anything bad will happen to him. He doesn't take the warning seriously at all. He figured he could make up for not being great at fighting by using his brain instead. He lets everyone know he's got plenty of dirt on the headmaster's grandson, and he's ready to face whatever comes next. He's pretty confident in his own moves, and isn't planning to give up easily in the arena. The instructor signaled that the match was about to begin. The chubby guy got ready, focusing on his technique and steadying himself for what was coming next. He focuses, and suddenly a third eye opens up right in the middle of his forehead. This isn't just some trick, it's the real deal, like something straight out of a crazy legend. The fox lets him know that this ability is special. Most people don't have it. It's kind of like having a secret power that lets you see what's coming next, and hardly anyone else has it. The chubby guy stands across from his opponent, getting ready to use his special skill to figure out where the other guy will move next. The red-haired guy looks fired up, thinking this fight is finally getting good. He gets ready to jump in and make his move. He starts thinking fast, running through everything he knows about the way his opponent plays. He tries to figure out what move might be coming next and how likely it is. He figures there's a pretty good chance, about 85%, that he'll end up using some earth moves. The young guy gets ready and slams his hand down, sending rocks shooting up from the ground. The chubby dude sees it coming and braces himself, ready to jump out of the way. He builds up a huge rock wall, then hurls it straight at the chubby guy, using every bit of his strength. The chubby guy moves out of the way just in time, and the red-haired kid can't believe how quick he is. He had already figured out where the attack was coming from, so he knew he wouldn't get hit. The main guy noticed how quick the chubby kid moved, which was kind of surprising. The fox explained it had something to do with the kid's special eye. Apparently, it gave him a boost that most people wouldn't expect just by looking at him. She lets him know that because of this power, he starts getting thoughts from one of the legendary ancestors of the sect. It's almost like something's taken over him, like he's got this unreal boost from some higher power. That's the reason he's suddenly fighting way better than before. The headmaster's grandson stands his ground, totally unfazed. He gets ready for whatever's coming next, his hands lighting up with a bright red glow. The chubby guy does some quick thinking and figures there's a really good chance, like almost certain, the other guy's about to use close-up fighting moves. Out of nowhere, the young guy pulls off a move that gets him way closer, closing the gap fast as he heads straight toward his opponent. He suddenly steps right in front of the chubby guy, fist pulled back, ready to land a punch. The young man stays calm. He figures all he has to do is lift his hand a certain way, and everything will be fine. He stands there, grinning, totally sure of himself. He thinks blocking the other guy's attack will be no big deal. He didn't see it coming. The young guy's punch landed right on his face, way harder than he expected. The hit knocks him off his feet, and the chubby guy crashes to the ground, totally out cold and done for. Even the headmaster's grandson is caught off guard by the outcome. He stands there, confused, trying to figure out how things turned out this way. The chubby guy is down on the ground, a huge bump swelling on his head. He's clearly done for now, not getting up to keep fighting. He calls out to his friend, clearly uneasy about how things are going with him. The young guy stands up and grabs his notebook. He jots down a reminder to figure out how much stronger his opponent is before the next time they face off. The main guy quickly points out that this isn't the right moment to be jotting things down. Meanwhile, the chubby dude can't handle it and drops to the ground, passing out once more. The instructor nodded at the young master, clearly impressed by his win, but he couldn't help glancing over at the chubby guy, looking a bit concerned about how he was holding up after the match. The headmaster notices his grandson has made some progress, but he still won't use any of the family's special moves. The red-haired guy lifts his head, turning to face both his grandpa and the instructor standing up in the academy tower. He doesn't say anything. He just gives the arena one last look, his face set and serious, then turns around and heads out. Young master steps off the stage after the instructor gives him a nod. He heads over to get ready for the next round, his mind already thinking about what's coming up. While all this is going on, the main guy picks up his buddy and carries him on his back. He thinks about how tough his friend was during the fight and can't help but feel a bit proud of him. The young man admitted he wanted to pick up that move, but the chubby guy just brushed it off, saying it wasn't something he needed. Out of nowhere, the instructor let everyone know that the second round was going to have random matchups too. The red-haired instructor looked over, curious if the draw was actually going to be random. The headmaster just shrugged, admitting he had no idea. The hooded guy feels pretty nervous about running into the main character. He's not sure he can handle it. Luckily, the instructor notices and steps in, helping him chill out a bit. He grinned, letting everyone know that the young master had made even more enemies than anyone realized. He grabs a piece of paper, crushes it in his fist, and lets everyone know the first match of the round is already set. He opens the papers, his face tense, getting ready to read out the names of the next fighters. When the instructor calls out Wu's name, the young guy keeps his eyes glued to the stage, ready to see how the fight plays out. His opponent turns out to be a young guy with a hood pulled low over his head. There's something about the way he grins. It's the kind of smile that makes everyone wonder what he's really planning. The pink-haired girl and the fox both stared at the results, confused about how the drawing turned out so weird. Neither of them could figure out what happened, and they both looked around, trying to see if someone had messed with it. The instructor holds up the papers and makes it clear that nothing shady is going on. He insists that the academy treats everyone the same. The young guy in the hoodie nodded along with the plan and hopped into the arena. He looked focused, already gearing up for whatever fight was about to go down. He tries to mess with the main guy, trying to get under his skin and see if he's scared of him. Meanwhile, the fox can't take it and starts to get mad. The young master cuts the conversation short and gets ready for the fight coming up. He looks focused, all business now, not letting anything distract him as he prepares himself. He looked determined, knowing he had to stand his ground if he wanted a shot at moving up to a better class at the academy. The pink-haired girl watches him, clearly impressed. The fox, on the other hand, looks annoyed, its ears back and tail twitching. Meanwhile, the chubby guy in the corner quietly scribbles something down, probably trying to keep up with everything going on. He walks into the combat arena, his face set and focused as he stares down his opponent. The hooded guy just grinned, clearly surprised that someone actually stepped up to challenge him. He grinned, looking pretty confident as he got ready to swing his massive sword at the main character. He doesn't bother waiting for the match to begin. Instead, he steps forward, making it clear that he's here to settle things with the younger guy. The fox tries to point out that he got caught off guard, but the instructor acts like the match was all ready. She gets really mad and starts ranting about how everyone at the academy keeps messing with her brother. In her eyes, the way they treat him is just plain awful. The young master moves fast, slipping past every attack that comes his way. His reflexes are sharp, and he doesn't let anything slow him down. Each time the opponent strikes, he's already a step ahead, leaving everyone watching kind of impressed. The guy in the hoodie keeps swinging, going all out, but he just can't land a single hit on the main character. No matter how hard he tries, every punch misses. The instructor watches the young guy move faster than he expected, his eyes going wide as he tries to process what's happening. It's not every day he sees someone pull this off, and for a second he just stands there, trying to wrap his head around it. Out of nowhere, the main character shows up right behind his opponent. The instructor notices and quickly tries to warn the guy, hoping he realizes what's happening before it's too late. He winds up and throws his fist back, ready to slam the hooded guy from behind with all his strength. The young guy spins around just in time and stops the punch. He realizes the other dude is quick, but not quite quick enough. Out of nowhere, blue flames burst across the combat arena. The blast sent a wave of force through the whole place, making everyone freeze for a second as the heat and light washed over them. The explosion hit hard, sending the main guy flying across the ground. Meanwhile, his opponent just stood there, not hurt at all. He shields himself from the fire using his arms. Even though he blocks most of it, he still ends up with a few minor burns. The guy stands his ground, confident. He's already sorted out how he's going to fight and isn't about to let anyone close the gap. The main guy cools off his burned hand, annoyed by how insanely hot the other guy's flames are. He looks around, his face tense, finally getting just how bad things are getting for him. The young guy in the hoodie focuses, and blue flames start to build up in his hand, growing bigger and brighter as he gets ready for whatever comes next. He calls out two huge fire dragons, getting ready to go all in for the last attack in the arena. He steps back, noticing right away that the heat's way too much for him to handle on his own. Blocking it with just his body isn't going to work this time. The instructor gives a sly grin, clearly hoping the guy in the hoodie will trap the main character. The white-haired girl gave the young guy a look, letting him know it was his turn to step up. He realized he'd have to use those secret, dangerous moves if he wanted a shot at winning. He backs up until his shoulders hit the wall of the arena. There's no space left behind him. He can't back out anymore. The hooded guy grinned, looking pretty pleased with himself, and raised his voice, making it clear he wanted the main character gone for good. Both fire dragons rush straight at the guy, moving way faster than anyone would expect. The young master realizes he's got his back against the wall. He knows this fight isn't going to be easy, so he decides to go all out, ready to put everything he's got into winning. The girls light up with excitement while the chubby guy sits back, curious about what move Boss Lincoln is going to pull next. He shapes his hands in a special way, getting ready to pull off one of those hidden moves only someone like him could know. The young man calls out the name of his move in his head, chest press, and with a determined push, he forces the flames back. The other guy calls out, surprised, saying what the young man just did isn't some kind of special move. The young man just shrugs it off, saying it's something he picked up from working out. The guy in the hoodie gives a quick nod, clearly impressed that he managed to catch those dragons. But there's a look in his eyes that says things aren't about to get any easier. It's like he's hinting that there are more surprises coming, and whatever's next isn't going to be simple. Out of nowhere, the fire in his hands bursts apart and shoots across the whole arena. The fire suddenly shifts shape, turning into a bunch of blue lotus flowers made of flames that float all around the young guy. The opponent steps up and wants to see if he can handle catching every single lotus flower, throwing out a crazy amount of attacks at once. The main guy realizes that if he wants to win, he has to pull out an immortal move that's way stronger than what he used before. He gets ready to pull off another one of his secret moves, the kind that only someone like him could use. This was his way of staying safe, even when things got tough. The young guy darts back and forth across the arena, moving so fast that it looks like there are a bunch of him all at once. The white-haired guy freezes, surprised because he thinks the other dude just his move. But someone else quickly steps in and sets him straight, clearing up his confusion right away. The main guy moves fast, weaving through the air as the fire lotus flowers burst all around him. He stays just ahead of the danger, slipping past every attack like he's done this 100 times before. The heat is intense, but he keeps his cool, never slowing down for a second. The other guy catches on that he's using the wind to push the fire out of the way. It starts to get on his nerves. The young man stands there, fire energy swirling all around him. He knows another attack is coming, so he gets ready, muscles tense and eyes locked forward. He grabs the fire rock and sets up a prison around the arena, locking the main guy inside. Everyone else couldn't help but be confused. They tried to figure out how he managed to pull off an earth move when everyone knew his strengths were fire and metal. It just didn't add up for them. The instructor starts talking up the young guy's elemental exchange move, going on about how impressive it is. Meanwhile, the other dude clearly isn't having it. He looks irritated, probably tired of hearing the praise. The guy with the hoodie just rolled his eyes at everyone else, acting like he couldn't believe they didn't know how the world's 5 elements worked. He looked pretty unimpressed, like he thought they should learn this stuff by now. The headmaster watches closely, clearly impressed by the technique he's seeing. He gives the instructor a nod, signaling to make sure everything gets recorded with the projection stone. The instructor kept thinking about how expensive the crystal was, probably stressing over what it might cost them. Meanwhile, the headmaster just brushed it off, acting like the price tag didn't matter at all. The young man stands there looking more sure of himself than ever. It's like something just clicked in his mind. He finally understands how everything really works. There's a new confidence in the way he moves, like he knows nothing can really stop him anymore. His skills don't have the same boundaries they once did, and you can tell he's ready to take on whatever comes next. He gets ready to go after the main character, gearing up to use his new move. You can tell he's serious about this. There's a look in his eyes like he really wants to prove himself. He fires off the rock-piercing explosion, sending a powerful blast straight at the young master. The rock prison bursts apart, sending chunks flying in all directions. The force behind it is pretty intense, scattering debris all over the place. The chubby guy and the pink-haired girl called out for the protagonist, both looking really concerned as they watched him. You could tell they were scared something bad might happen to him. The red-haired instructor stares at where his spirit stones used to be, looking totally defeated. He seems so crushed that for a second, it looks like he might just pass out from how much it hurts. The pink-haired girl gets ready to help the main guy, but the fox steps in and holds her back. The girl couldn't understand why she was being held back from jumping in to help. Meanwhile, the fox just tried to calm her down, letting her know everything was under control. She smiled, looking pretty sure of herself. To her, this little move was nothing her brother couldn't handle. The young guy in the hoodie smiled to himself, looking pretty pleased. He clearly believed that no one from this world could actually stand up to him. Out of nowhere, he notices the arena floor start to shake. He looks around, trying to figure out what's going on with the ground beneath him. The ground shakes hard, and cracks start spreading across the arena floor. Everything begins to fall apart, pieces of the arena breaking off and dropping everywhere. Most of the students started looking around, unsure of what was happening. Some of them thought it might be an earthquake, and the whole arena got tense. You could see the worry on their faces as they tried to figure out if they should run or just stay put. The fox grinned with a sly look, clearly excited. It seemed like he knew something big was about to happen. He watched closely, almost like he'd been waiting for this moment, confident that was finally about to let everyone see what he could really do. Out of nowhere, a golden light shines around the main guy. Even though it looked like the attack should have done some real damage, he stands there without a scratch, totally fine. He slams down on the bench press, moving so fast it's almost a blur. The metal bar crashes against the rock prison, smashing it apart in seconds. Pieces of stone fly everywhere as he stands up, free again and ready for whatever comes next. The hooded guy freezes for a second, staring at what just happened. He wasn't expecting his attack to get stopped like that. It takes him a moment to process, and it's clear he didn't see this coming. The fox just shrugged it off, saying her brother went through way tougher training all the time. The other girl nodded, totally agreeing with her. The main guy lets out a quiet breath, realizing he's not stressed at all about the weight. For him, it's nothing. He's totally fine with how things are going right now. The opponent's face twists in anger. He can't believe someone from this world just made him look bad. He knows he's supposed to be the chosen one, so there's no way he's letting some random guy beat him. He tightens his grip and gets ready for whatever's coming next. He channels the strength of metal and earth straight into his sword, making it heavy, like it weighs 10,000 pounds in his hands. He throws the straight at the main character, putting everything he's got into it. The headmaster points out how the guy's anger is messing with his decisions, and even the flashy instructor nods in agreement. He spaced out for a second and didn't remember that his opponent was way more skilled when the fight got up close. He started to get ready, bracing himself for whatever was coming next, knowing he needed to react fast. The main character quickly twists his body, spinning out of the way just as the sword swings past him. He reacts fast, stepping out of the way just in time. The sword misses him and jams straight into the floor of the arena. The hooded guy couldn't believe it when he saw his black ruler get snagged by the other player. His eyes went wide, and he froze for a second, not sure what to do next. That move had totally thrown him off, and now he had to figure out a new plan fast. He sees the main guy's fist coming straight at him, but he's too slow to do anything about it. The punch lands right on him and knocks him backward, sending him sprawling from the sheer power behind it. The opponent stands there, completely caught off guard by the hit. He tries to figure out what just happened, but it doesn't make sense to him. He never expected to get taken down so easily. The main guy steps up and stands right in front of him. He lets him know the fight's done, and there's nothing left to do now. It's clear from his face that things didn't go his way. The girls cheered for the young master after his win, getting pretty excited. The fox, caught up in the moment, started shouting wild stuff about wanting to have his kids. The instructor's face tightens with anger after the loss. He glares at the hooded young man, clearly disappointed, and doesn't hide how useless he thinks the guy is for not winning. The main guy turns his back and heads out, leaving the other dude who lost just lying there in the arena. The young man's eyes burned with anger as he glared across the room. He didn't want the young master to move even an inch, making it clear he should just stay put and not try anything. He wasn't ready to give up yet. Right then, he turned to Master Dan, hoping for a boost to pull off one final move. Master Dan raised his voice, clearly annoyed at the request. He wasn't about to put himself on the line just for some test, especially if it meant messing with something as serious as his own soul. To him, it was a flat-out no, and he made sure everyone knew how ridiculous he thought the idea was. The boy holds his ground, determined to make himself noticed. He thinks that if he doesn't step up now, there's no point in him being here at all. This moment feels like his one shot to prove he belongs in this world. He remembers back when he was just a regular kid, getting picked on by other students because he liked reading manga in public. He used to get so angry that he'd imagine having crazy main character powers, just so he could finally show everyone what he was made of. Out of nowhere, someone shouts at him to be careful. The guy turns his head, totally lost, not sure what's going on. A truck comes speeding down the road straight at him. He's quick to notice there's no way the driver can stop before hitting him. One moment, he's just reading his favorite manga in his room, and the next, he wakes up somewhere totally different. It takes him a second to realize he's actually inside the world of the manga he knows so well. Everything around him looks just like the pages he's read 100 times, and he can barely believe this is really happening. Even after he became the young master, people still didn't respect him. Some would even throw stuff at him, acting like he didn't belong. The boy made up his mind. He wasn't going to just sit around and do nothing anymore. Now that he had this strange ring, things felt different. It was like he'd finally found something that could help him turn things around. Just like something out of a legend, the ring actually held the soul of a strong cultivator called Master Dan. Before he died, the man really knew his stuff when it came to alchemy. He taught the younger guy a lot, helping him get way stronger than before. With his new powers, he tracked down the people who used to mess with him, and showed them he wasn't someone to mess with anymore. He didn't hold back, making sure they understood he was done being pushed around. With how well he was doing, his family started to look at him differently. They actually seemed proud of him for once, and he could tell they respected him more than before. The young man made up his mind. He was going to become the clan leader. This was his shot to show everyone he wasn't a loser anymore. Right now, he's totally confident. With the main guy's power on his side, he doesn't think there's any chance he'll lose to just anyone. Master Dan lets out a long sigh. He realizes there's no point trying to change the boy's mind. He's just too stubborn. He lets him know the energy he's saved up won't last long, and gives him a quick heads up. The spirit's pain was obvious, like it was really struggling. It wanted the young guy to know that this new power wasn't something to mess around with. He could tell the spirit wanted him to be careful and smart about it, not just use it without thinking. The boy stood there, glowing with a golden light. He kept his cool and let the master know he had things under control. He was sure he'd already won. Up in the observation tower, the instructor watched the boy closely. Something about the kid seemed different. His energy just wasn't right. The headmaster stood nearby, and he could tell too. Both of them kept their eyes on the boy, knowing something was up. Master Dan went on, saying that even though he's strong and still alive, the best he can do is give the boy power at the golden core stage. The boy just grinned. For him, what really mattered was that he'd finally get to use the 5-element flames. He pulls together both metal and water, focusing hard as he gets ready to hit with everything he's got. He yells out and sends a blast of blue energy flying right at the main character. The attack lands right on target, covering him in a burst of water that splashes everywhere. The young master was stuck inside a ball of water, struggling to keep his head above the surface. He looked like he might run out of air any second, his hands pressing against the glassy walls as he tried to find a way out. The pink-haired girl stares at him, wide-eyed. She can't believe how fast he bounced back, and she quickly spots that his power just shot up to the golden core stage. The fox girl couldn't believe what she just saw. There was no way a newbie could be that strong, so she instantly jumped to the idea that something fishy was going on. She pointed the finger at him, basically calling him out for cheating in front of everyone. But before things could get heated, the instructor stepped in, shutting her down and reminding her not to throw around blame without any real evidence. The hooded boy figured that, no matter how strong someone was, getting dunked underwater like that would still mess with them. The other students realize things are getting out of hand. It's not just a regular fight anymore. Suddenly, they notice they're being dragged right into the middle of the arena, whether they want to be or not. Confused and uneasy, they look around, not sure what's happening as the situation quickly gets more intense. Out of nowhere, the fight gets so intense that even the academy's headmaster almost gets knocked off his feet by the force from the clash. He sends out a burst of red energy that spreads across the area. The fight stops right away, and the crowd backs off, staring at him. Everyone's surprised at how he handled everything so fast, and some people can't help but watch him like he just did something unreal. One student looked around at all the strong people at the academy, and thought he didn't regret coming here at all. Meanwhile, someone else noticed the headmaster was flying so high that his fake legs were easy to spot. At the same time, the hooded boy made up his mind. He didn't want to just blend in with everyone else anymore. He was determined to come out on top, no matter what it took. Suddenly, a bright light started glowing inside the water prison. It looked like it was about to explode. The young master swings his fist with everything he's got, smashing through the wall of water, trapping him. The attack falls apart, and he finally gets out, dripping wet but determined. The hooded boy stands there, completely still, staring at what just happened. His mind blanks out like he can't even begin to understand it. The young master stands tall, looking more determined than before. He knows there's a lot at stake, way more than just winning a fight. With a deep breath, he tightens his grip and gets ready, set to face whatever comes at him next. He gets ready and uses his immortal technique, but all it looks like is a plain, straight punch. The punch hits straight on, knocking the other guy back hard. He goes flying across the floor like he never saw it coming. The hooded boy hits the ground hard, barely able to process how strong that hit was. For a second, he just lies there, trying to catch his breath and make sense of what just happened. The hit sets off a huge explosion right in the middle of the arena, blasting dust everywhere. The shockwave rips through the place, tearing up everything nearby. The students scramble for cover, doing whatever they can to protect themselves from the flying debris. Everyone could tell the headmaster was relieved. The blast wave had almost hit them in the stands, but it just missed. The headmaster just stared, totally thrown off. He couldn't figure out how a regular punch, nothing fancy, no special power, could hit that hard. Once the smoke faded, everyone could see the arena floor. It was a total mess, wrecked from the fight. The hooded boy lay on the ground, staring up in disbelief as the master stood over him, making it clear he had lost. He can't deal with losing and tries to make a comeback, but the spirit just shuts him down, telling him it's pointless to keep going. Right then, the main guy walks over and says sorry. His opponent just stands there, looking even more confused than before, not sure what to make of it. The young master doesn't pause for a second. He grabs the boy's weapon and uses it against him. The boy yells out, hurting from the hit. He gets hit hard and drops straight to the floor, totally out of it. He just lies there, not moving, while everything around him keeps going. The main guy, looking pretty serious, lets everyone in on something big. Turns out, he's actually from another world too. The instructor's face turns red with anger, his mind racing as he tries to figure out just how strong that troublemaker actually is. As soon as the winner's name is called, the young master throws his arms up, pumped up with excitement. Around him, the crowd goes crazy, cheering and shouting like their team just won the championship. Everyone's energy is contagious, and the young master can't help but join in, caught up in the moment as the whole place buzzes with celebration. Both girls run up onto the stage and throw their arms around him, giving him a tight hug. They're so excited for him, celebrating his win together. The boy's cheeks turn a bit red as he catches his breath. He's clearly worn out from the fight, looking like he just finished a tough workout. Even though he tries to play it cool, it's obvious he's drained and the whole thing took a lot out of him. The pink-haired girl smiled at him, letting him know she had plenty of food and there was nothing for him to stress about. She suddenly pulls out a huge chunk of meat from somewhere nobody expects, and everyone just stops what they're doing, totally surprised. The fox girl raised her voice, clearly annoyed about where the food was placed. On the other hand, the girl just shrugged it off, not really understanding why it mattered so much. The young woman just says she hangs out there because it's the only spot with enough room. The fox girl looks like she's about to pass out, totally thrown off by the weird situation. While he's eating, the fox girl makes up her mind to figure out cooking. She wants to step up her game and go head-to-head with the other girl. The instructor's voice boomed through the room, making it clear the competition was done. He didn't waste any time, telling everyone to clear out and get off the stage right away. While he was busy chomping on a huge piece of meat, an idea popped into his head out of nowhere. He grabs 2 pieces of meat and rushes straight toward the guy lying on the ground. The young master slides the food over, checking if the other guy wants some too. The hooded boy stares down at the meat, clearly not into it. He shakes his head, turning down the offer without even thinking twice. He knocks the meat out of the way, his face tight with anger. He definitely doesn't want anyone's pity, especially not from the main guy. You can tell he's had enough and just wants to be left alone. The hooded boy walks away quickly, clearly upset. The fox girl looks irritated, ready to react, but the young man steps in and holds her back, keeping things from getting heated. The pink-haired girl thought the boy was being generous, but he just shrugged it off, letting her know they actually came from the same place. The 2 girls just stared at each other, totally lost about what he was talking about. They couldn't figure out why he thought they were from the same place. The instructor, who clearly doesn't like the boy, just laughs at him in front of everyone. He acts like it's ridiculous for the boy to even think he's the chosen one. He narrowed his eyes, clearly up to something, and started thinking about how else he could deal with the main guy. Out of nowhere, a hand shows up and smacks a fine straight onto the instructor's face. The old guy from the disciplinary committee showed up. He didn't waste any time and fined him 100 spirit stones just for spitting on the ground. The instructor gets caught off guard for a second, but he pulls himself together and decides to pay the old man. He hands over the cash for the fine, clearly annoyed. Deep down, he can't shake off how embarrassing this was, and he's already planning how to get back at the main guy for making him look bad. Somewhere else, the main guy sneezes out of nowhere and pauses, a little confused, trying to figure out what just happened to him. The girl tries to hand him some soup, but he just waves her off, acting like he doesn't need it. He jokes that maybe someone out there is thinking about him, trying to play it cool even though he's not really into the whole soup thing. Out of nowhere, the girl with white hair showed up. Her face was serious as she looked at the main guy and called his name. She locks eyes with him, her stare icy and unbreakable. She doesn't say a word, but it's clear she's not backing down. The white-haired instructor steps in, trying to stop what's happening. He reminds everyone that it isn't her time to fight yet. She notices that the main guy isn't weak, but doesn't bother paying him much attention. Instead, she just turns and starts talking to the instructor, acting like the main guy isn't even there. The girl couldn't believe how easily he handled the last match. She glanced at his beaten opponent, tossing a quick insult their way, clearly unimpressed by how things turned out. She's had enough. Since nobody else could make him show what he's really capable of, she decides to handle it herself. Her eyes narrow, determination all over her face, and there's no way she's backing down now. The main guy gets all flustered, stumbling over his words. He can't figure out why she's suddenly calling him a demon, and it throws him off. She looked over at the instructor, wanting to get started already. He nodded, but told her she had to pick someone to go up against first. The white-haired instructor flashes a sly, confident grin. He looks like he already knows what he's about to do next. The girl lifts her sword, looking straight at the crowd. She stands her ground and signals for everyone left to come at her together. The students hesitate, glancing at each other, not sure if they really want to face her all at once. Everyone just stands there, not sure what to say after seeing how confident she is. Still, one guy can't help but think to himself that her skills are actually pretty amazing. The boy in the hoodie points out the girl he wants, all confident, but the spirit quickly points out he's got it wrong. She's actually interested in someone else. The spirit doesn't let up. He points out that he's heard the other guy isn't from this world either, and basically tells him to give it a rest. But the boy just grins, pretty much taking it as proof that he's special. If someone from another world showed up just to compete with him, then he must be the main character here. Master Dan was totally out of patience, just thinking about how he ended up having to deal with this kid. The young man's eyes narrowed, his jaw set. He looked like someone who'd made up his mind, ready to take on whatever came at him. No matter what problems popped up or who tried to stop him, he wasn't planning on backing down. You could just tell he was ready to push through and handle anything, no matter how tough it got. The instructor glances at the headmaster, kind of unsure about what's going on. He wonders if this is even allowed, but the headmaster just shrugs it off, acting like this is exactly what students their age are supposed to do. The headmaster looked at her, checking if she really meant what she said. She nodded, clear about what she wanted. She was done waiting around and just wanted to move forward. The headmaster, clearly pumped up, encourages her to step up and let everyone see what someone her age can really do. The instructor's patience runs out, and he's clearly annoyed. He doesn't waste any more time and calls for the battle to start between the girl and the rest of the students. The others, getting fed up with her attitude, get ready to go all out and hit her with everything they have. She rolls her eyes at the way they fight, not impressed at all. Getting herself ready to jump back in, she's clearly not taking their moves seriously. She jumps into action, pulling off her 100 swords dance move. Light bursts out from her, so bright it nearly blocks everything else from view. One of the guys in the class suddenly steps up, letting everyone know he's ready to throw the rules out the window. Without hesitating, he charges ahead, looking like he's about to take matters into his own hands. He goes all out, showing off his Purple Thunder Frenzy blade move. But the girl just stands there, barely reacting, like she's not even the slightest bit interested. She shot him a glare that made it clear she wasn't impressed. She wanted to know if he was seriously thinking about challenging her strength. Out of nowhere, cracks started spreading along his sword, and a blinding light burst out from the white-haired girl. His sword breaks apart, bits flying everywhere. The boy just stands there, frozen, not sure what to do as he watches her strength in action. The blast slams right into him, knocking him and the other students off their feet and tossing them through the air. He flies through the air, landing hard on the arena floor. He's totally wiped out and can't get back up. The red-haired boy and his chubby friend stood there, eyes wide, not sure what to do. The girl's strength just left them both frozen in place. The guy goes down the moment he gets hit, his face twisted up in pain and caught off guard as he crashes to the floor. The red-haired boy watches as the girl takes down the young master in just one move. He's honestly impressed by how quick and smooth she was, and it shows on his face. The chubby guy couldn't help but stare, totally impressed by how she handled her sword. It was clear to him that her skills were way above what he'd ever seen before. Right then, the headmaster's grandson turns to the chubby guy and calls him out, wanting to know why he's still standing around instead of getting into the arena. The red-haired boy stands there looking totally sure of himself. He's got that cocky grin, like he knows he's unbeatable and no one is ever going to take him down. Out of nowhere, a blade cuts through the air toward the girl. She reacts fast, moving just in time to avoid it. The boy goes in for a hit, but she dodges fast and gets ready to strike back. She steps forward and kicks hard, catching him off guard. The impact sends him flying across the arena, crashing to the ground on the other side. The others notice an opening and start moving in, getting set to go after the girl from behind. She's tired of all the non-stop fighting. It's been dragging on way too long and she's just done with it. So she gets ready to finish everything with one last move. She moves fast, getting ready to show off an even stronger sword move. When the others noticed she was actually flying, they couldn't help but stare. Some of the guys started thinking maybe she'd already hit the golden core stage, something most people only dream about. The red-haired boy let everyone know that what they just saw wasn't some flying trick. It was all about how he handled his sword. The chubby guy nodded, remembering something he'd read in one of those academy books. Suddenly a bright light wraps around the girl. Everyone looks on, their eyes wide, caught off guard by what just happened. The other students grumble about how the light is blocking their view and shoot annoyed looks at the girl, thinking she's got no shame. She calls up thousands of swords, her eyes set and focused. You can tell she's ready to go all in for the last big fight. She lets out a yell and sends all her swords flying straight at the other students, putting everything she's got into it. Her opponents hit the ground, totally wiped out and beaten. They didn't have anything left in them to get back up or keep going. The pink-haired girl starts bragging about how she beat everyone so easily, acting pretty proud of herself. But the fox girl isn't having it. She points out that, yeah, the pink-haired girl is strong, but there's someone even tougher. Brother. One of the hurt students pushes himself up, his face twisted with anger as he locks eyes on the girl. He wants answers, wondering why she did that to him. Someone else chimes in, thinking she probably meant to do it since he was checking her out. Somewhere nearby, a guy in a mask watched everything going down. He could tell the girl wasn't the same as before. She definitely leveled up. The instructor called the match, naming the white-haired girl as the winner. She didn't react much, just stood there, clearly caught up in her own thoughts. She stares straight at him, getting ready for the last big fight in the arena. She looked him straight in the eyes, making it clear she wasn't messing around. She made it obvious that now was the moment. They had to deal with everything between them, no more backing down. The main guy checks if the girl wants to take a break, but she shakes her head, letting him know she's good to keep going. She let them know beating the others barely took any effort, then got ready to fight, looking calm and confident. The headmaster looks at the group and knows they're the top competitors. He's actually excited to watch what they can do in the upcoming match. The other official standing nearby nods, clearly on the same page. Out of nowhere, the instructor, who always wore the brightest clothes, sent a bunch of drones flying into the arena. It was clear he was getting ready to do something big. The drones hovered above, their cameras quietly capturing the scattered bodies of students lying on the ground. The whole scene looked strange, almost unreal, as the machines moved around, recording everything. The robots moved in and grabbed the students by their hair, yanking them up and dragging them across the arena floor. The students tried to twist away, but the robots' grip was too strong. One by one, they were pulled out of the area, their sneakers scraping against the ground as everyone watched, not sure what would happen next. Both finalists stand across from each other, getting ready for the last match. This one is for the championship, and everyone knows it's going to decide who comes out on top. The boy's hands start to sweat as he tries to calm things down. He's clearly on edge, hoping everyone will just understand that there's been some kind of mistake. She tells him to keep it down, and decides she's going to make him admit he's actually a demon. He gives her an awkward smile, trying to play it cool. Deep down, he knows she's got it all wrong about him. He doesn't have any special powers or anything like that, no matter what she thinks. He wonders what he ever did to make her hate him, but all he gets in return is a cold stare. The way she looks at him makes it clear she can't stand him at all. She yells at him, her voice breaking as her thoughts race back to everything she's had to deal with before. All those old memories hit her at once, making it hard to keep it together. He watches as her anger grows stronger, and it suddenly hits him. He must messed up and said something he really shouldn't have. The girl doesn't waste any time. She goes straight for him, swinging her sword with a ton of force. He feels the power coming right at him, and deep down he gets it. There's no way he can take that hit straight on. The young master reacts fast, pulling off his special high jump move to dodge the incoming attack. He lands smoothly, barely breaking a sweat, showing just how skilled he really is. The attack crashes into the ground, setting off a huge explosion that sends dust flying everywhere. He pushes off the ground and launches himself high above, just barely dodging the girl's attack. For a second, he's up in the air, looking down as the danger passes underneath. He keeps climbing higher, getting ready for whatever might happen next in this last fight. The headmaster's grandson just stands there, frozen, trying to process what he just saw. Meanwhile, the chubby guy can't hide his excitement, pumping his fist and grinning as Boss shows off some serious strength. He lets out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. That attack almost got him, but he pulled it off and dodged just in time. Now, his heart's pounding, but at least he's safe for the moment. The girl took to the air, standing on her sword like it was nothing. She looked down, curious about how he'd get out of the way this time with both of them off the ground. She gets ready to pull out one of her strongest moves, planning to finish this fight for good. The girl suddenly pulls out the heaven-splitting sword and brings it down hard, her attack slamming straight down with crazy force. The hit lands, and this time, the arena shakes even harder than before. The explosion that follows is way bigger, sending up chunks of the floor and blasting dust everywhere. Every eye in the crowd goes wide as they watch the chaos unfold, not expecting things to get this intense. The shockwave spreads through the area, shaking everything around. The girl just stands there, watching what she's done, looking completely unfazed by how strong her attack was. The instructor watched the fight and started to wonder if things were getting out of hand. Meanwhile, the headmaster just leaned in, clearly more interested now that things were heating up. The main guy gets ready to pull off this immortal move, and the girl can't take her eyes off him. She's totally focused, waiting to see what he'll do next. He grabs the girl's massive sword using just his hands, stopping it before it can hit him. The pink-haired girl stares, speechless, while the fox girl just shrugs and points out that its power is way beyond what anyone could guess. The girl's face twisted with anger. She glared at him, clearly seeing him as some kind of evil threat. Without hesitating, she started gathering her strength, ready to go all out and show him what she could really do. The young woman flew high above the clouds, flipping through the pages of the 10,000 swords technique as she went. The girl didn't hold back. She raised her hand, and suddenly swords started falling from the sky, coming down fast and heavy, all aimed straight at the boy. It looked like she was putting everything she had into this attack, not giving him a chance to catch his breath. The boy pauses for a second, drawing in a steady breath. He's getting ready to pull off another one of his signature moves, the kind only he seems to know. He takes a deep breath and suddenly, wind wind starts swirling all around him. The air whips up fast, spinning like a mini tornado, making it tough for anything to get close. He catches every sword with his move, and the girl just stares, totally surprised by what she's seeing. The instructor watched, his eyes narrowing as he took in the scene. Something about it tugged at his memory. He'd seen this exact thing happen before, back when he was younger and his own swords had been trapped just like that. The memory hit him, a little annoying and a little frustrating, but he kept it to himself. He pulls all the swords he caught together, squeezing them until they turn into a glowing ball of energy. At the same time, the girl charges straight at him, ready to strike. The young guy throws the energy ball right back at her, not holding back at all. It hits the ground hard, kicking up dust. The girl can't believe he had the nerve to do that, and she lets out a loud, angry yell. She stared ahead, her eyes cold and sharp. In her mind, she promised herself that no matter what happened, she wouldn't give in to someone like that. 10 years earlier, up on Eugene Peak, a young girl wandered around, calling out for her mom. Baggy was only 5, but she already claimed she could sense something special, like a weird energy that no one else seemed to notice.
Lately, I've had a strong addiction to watching manhwa and manga recap videos. Every single day, I find myself binging one after another, losing hours and days doing absolutely nothing productive. And honestly, it's getting out of hand. So, maybe we can make these viral videos too. I mean, look at the views, the growth, the community these creators are building. It looks simple, right? But that's a trap. You go down this endless rabbit hole spending money, losing sleep, hiring editors and writers from Fiverr and Upwork and still feel like you've been robbed. Because don't forget how emotional the YouTube algorithm can be with making videos go viral. It's unpredictable, especially when the market's saturated, competition's relentless, and somehow other creators are dropping 10-hour videos daily while you're stuck trying to finish one. That's when I realized something had to change. So, I built the solution, the Web2 Narrative Suite, a complete one-click system that handles everything from cropping, script narration, text-to-speech, image processing, and full video generation in one smooth process. Save money, reduce hours of work, and have a tool that only gives you straight results. Click on the link down below and experience it for yourself. And if you want even more tools to supercharge your YouTube recap journey, visit my Ko-Fi and Patreon pages where I drop weekly new tools designed to keep you ahead as AI continues to steal our jobs. So tap in now before you get left behind.